The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Contenders are rounding into form at the FIDE candidates in Cyprus. Fabiano Caruana still fighting, earning another half point to remain in clear second. Unfortunately for Fabi, frontrunner Javokhir Sindarov's been unstoppable, winning 4 games straight to widen his lead. The Phenom's on a roll. Can he keep it up? Day 7 of Fantastic Chess, coming up next.
Hello chess fans and welcome from beautiful Cyprus. Round 7 marks the end of the first half of the FIDE Candidates tournament and it's been sensational so far. Javokhir Sindarov is on fire with stunning 5.5 out of 6. Is he going to continue his winning streak? Will Fabi manage to minimize the gap? Let's go to the studio and follow the action.
Hello everyone and welcome to our show today in chess. I'm your host Nazi Paikidze and I'm here with the one and only Yasser.
Nazi, it's such a pleasure to be here with you and Maurice, calling all the action. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully you've been watching and enjoying our show as well. Well, it's been an epic show. Our tournament leader is simply having an event for the ages. Can he keep it up? Well, we're going to find out for this round 7. But first, Nazi, standings.
Let's have a look. Yasser will start with the open section. Javokhir Sindarov, wow, what else can we say? +5 score leading the event. In second place, 1.5 behind him is American Fabiano Caruana. Sharing third, 2 players, Praggnanandhaa and Anish Giri.
I think in the ladies it's a lot closer, shall we say.
It is closer, however, there is a sole leader. Anna Muzichuk takes a full point lead, 4 out of 6. Sharing second, however, 5 players chasing her: Zhujiner, Alexandra Garyachkina, Divya Deshmukh, Vaishali, and Katerina Lakhno.
And tell us about the matchups for today's round.
Today's round 7, and we have Andrey Esipenko playing Wei Yi. The leader Sindarov is facing Anish Giri. Can Anish slow down Javokhir?
That's the big question.
Matthias Blübaum against Hikaru Nakamura, and another big matchup, Praggnanandhaa against Fabiano Caruana.
Simply a huge matchup there on board for both players eager for victory. Maurice, who has an advantage in the games as they've been underway?
Well, only one player, and his name is not Fabiano Caruana, up to this point in time. And unfortunately, for Fabi fans, it looks as though Sindarov is got this really solid position. He's the shut right now, and he is playing just like a boss. And we could take a look at his position against Anish Giri. You see, as usual, he's way ahead on the clock, but it is still move 28 actually just played by Anish. So Anish has plenty of time coming out of this Ragozin. The position is more or less equal. So it would be likely that this one ends up a draw, barring any serious mistakes. Draws are good for Javokhir as long as his rivals do not win games as well. So let's look at his main rival, Fabiano Caruana, who played a very enterprising Slav. This position, you couldn't imagine as back. Let me just back up to some critical moment here in this one, as back here, we have this very strange position where bishop on f8, still wondering, when am I going to get in the game? Well, after a5, bishop c4, Fabi played this move, and bishop takes on e6 takes. There was a queen sacrifice possible. We'll get into it as we go down the line, but this position was a queen sac for white instead of for black, it ended up being. And we get now very quickly to the present position. As you can see here, Fabi has a knight ensconced on the d3 square, but he does have these weak pawns. Now, let's go to the next game between Matthias Blübaum and Hikaru Nakamura. And this one looks very much like it will be drawn. It is an opposite color bishop position, but trades are afoot, and it's not easy to see how any attack will develop. Black would definitely going to be preventing bishop e5 and queen f6. That's not going to happen between these guys. And so you can expect this one to be a draw. Draws are bad for both these players, especially top seed Nakamura, who came in with high hopes, but now would just want to have a respectable score in the end. And finally, we have a matchup between Andrey Esipenko, who's also at the bottom of the tournament table, and Wei Yi. And Wei Yi got a move in. I'm just going to go back a couple of moves from right here. From a very decent position where he could just trade on d6, somehow the Russian star decided to drop his bishop back and then was met by this fantastic move, queen to e8. The point is, if you try to castle, suddenly that queen lands on the a4 square, and you can't go protect that pawn because you drop a rook. You're going to have to make some weaknesses on that side. Even the move a3 just begs to be sacrificed on with bishop takes. He decided after all that, did Esipenko, to play king d1. And now queen a4 check and king c1. This is not freestyle chess slash chess 960. There will be no castling will be that easy for white in this position. This one is looking extremely promising for the superstar from China. You'll see what he could do with this one. Let's take a look now at the line score for this young star. And it's just bling, bling, bling. My eyes can't even take it. Who gets these kind of numbers? A win in round one, which he called a lucky win against Esipenko. Then a draw in round two. That was against another tail ender in Matthias Blübaum. Those 4 wins are against big dogs. I mean, top of the food chain. Praggnanandhaa, Fabi, Nakamura, and Wei Yi. That's the 4 in a row. That's murderer's row he took down. What a tremendous start he has right now. And somebody's got to slow him down. Somebody. Make a draw at least, because he's playing like a beast.
Wow. Thank you, Maurice. We've been speaking about TPRs. It still boggles the mind what a great score he has. But tell our viewers the format for these candidates.
Let's have a look, Yasser. It's an 8-player double round-robin event, which means players will face each other twice with both colors. They're not allowed to offer draws until black makes their 40th move. Time control is 2 hours for the first 40 moves, 30 minutes for the rest of the game, with increment beginning from move 41.
Of course, we're in round 7 of a scheduled 14-round event. Tell us the schedule.
Right, today players are playing round 7. Tomorrow they get a rest day, then they'll be back for 3 more games, another rest day. There's still a lot of rest days left. And after 14 rounds, if there is no clear winner, then we are going to see playoffs on April 16th.
I like the way you say the players get a rest day. I like the way you say commentators get the rest day as well. And they're playing for a lot of money. Very nice prize fund.
Yes, they are. First place winner takes home 70,000 euros. Second place 45. Third place 25. But in addition to this, per half point earned, they get 5,000 euros.
Very impressive. Let's jump to our tournament leader, Sindarov. He's playing white today against Anish Giri. A player has a reputation, very, very solid, very difficult player to defeat, Anish Giri. And we have a pass pawn on a d5, a pass pawn on b3, 2 versus 2. But with such reduced material, it's very hard to see either player, especially when you think of this great blockading knight. As long as this blockading knight exists, the d5 pawn is not going anywhere, and you're not capturing on b3 either. So I don't see, any chances for
either of the players.
Well, on the other hand, I do see a little bit more chance in the position for Sindarov, because I do see that with the knight coming to d3, pawn coming to b4, chances for the knight maybe jumping to c5. Although I can imagine after a move like, for example, rook c8, the the rook start, this some hacking going on.
Yeah, if there's any advantage here, it's so minimal.
It is very,
barely
very
noticeable.
very minimal indeed.
How's Fabiano doing?
Let's go there. And Fabi, today he played this very enterprising way of playing the Slav, and he played it very, very quickly. So this well known. I mean, I don't know how many millions of games have gone knight d7, knight takes c4, knight b6, knight back to e5. A lot of theory.
That's a way for some grandmasters to make a quick draw.
Exactly. Queen c7 was a real surprise for me. It just, wow, because what's the idea of knight e5? The idea behind knight e5, strangely enough, is not to play knight takes c4. It's actually to play f3 and e4 and recapture on c4 with the bishop. Knight takes c4 came, knight a6, f3, more or less as we're seeing, e4, and the bishop's on e6.
It looks very strange for black.
Exactly.
I was thinking black is worse, but then I kept looking at Fabi's clock, and he had only spent 3 minutes up to here. So I was like, okay, this is definitely prep.
Right.
But turned out to be a good prep. Somehow.
I am exasperated because I just look at this position and I just say, well, white is just so much better. Why don't you play as white in this position, bishop to e2, castle, and take advantage of the fact that this bishop on e6, you're blocking yourself from playing e6 bishop. So you're going to have to play g6.
Fianchetto, yes.
Right. So I'm going to play, okay, so if we just put some moves on the board for just a second, I just thought that this is going to be a very easy kind of an attacking position for white. You just get to go, I don't know, even g4, f5 or g4, g5, but you're getting in f5. And if this, let's say you castle, right? If I ever get in a situation where I've got f5 and bishop c4, I feel like I'm getting a free attack. I haven't sacrificed anything, right? That did not happen. In fact, I think Pragg missed some tactics here. He played bishop c4, maybe anticipating that he's going to get some favorable trades. We were coming into show, and I was thinking, what about this sacrifice?
I like that, queen e5.
And I
Let's
thought,
show the line. So if I take, you're not even taking my queen.
No.
You're taking on c4.
Exactly.
And my queen cannot survive. If I go to c1, there is a fork. If I go to b1,
let's take a look.
I think you get some other material, right? There's bishop d3, knight c2.
Well, where is your king going to go? So at the moment, it's just two, it's just two minor pieces.
Yes.
But, I mean, shades of a young game of the century.
Apparently knight d3 is not great, but bishop d3 probably works very well. I have to go queen c1.
Ooh.
Yeah. This would have been a fun position.
This would have a really intriguing position for sure. And I thought that was where Fabi was going to go. Instead, it went knight d7 takes.
Which he played very quickly as well, so it's still in his book.
Totally. And then I thought, well, gee, okay, if Pragg has no choice, he has to castle. He can't retreat the bishop because knight d3 is coming with a check. So he loses the bishop, but he gets the piece back. And then suddenly,
in a funny way.
bang, suddenly, and
everything comes off.
And we're in an ending
You'd think
almost by force.
Black would be worse here because of the double pawns on e-file, but they make up for it with the active knight on d3.
Right.
And double pawns aren't necessarily a weakness unless white can attack and win them. But look at next couple of moves. Fabi puts the king on f7. Those pawns are not going anywhere.
Exactly. And Pragg essentially is saying, well, let's just wipe out the pawns on the queen side. I mean, you could play knight takes b2 here.
You think Fabi's playing for something here? Because he could have taken on b2 and shake hands, right?
Exactly. It would have been 4 versus 4. I don't think the double pawns in that 4 versus 4 are meaningful. Rook d6, good Fabi. I don't see how you could be...
He is hour ahead on the clock, so Pragg is down to 30 minutes.
An hour?
Hour and 30. Because
ahead on the
I
clock.
think about 20 moves was his prep, and we're only at move 25. So
Wow. That's crazy, Maurice. An hour ahead on the clock?
Well, he blitzed out his first few moves. In fact, he blitzed out several moves, but he did miss a teeny tiny opportunity, and I mean tiny opportunity, to keep his advantage, that slight advantage he would have had. And it came right here. This was on move 22, and he had essentially blitzed all his moves. As I'm looking at it, maybe move 19, he stopped for 5 minutes. That was his longest thing. But right here, he had to choose where to put the king. And he decided to, in one move, guard the pawn and connect his rook, because his rook is coming to d8 on the next move. What did that allow, though? When he played this move, a5 and a6, and white was able to get rid of this weakness and even create one in black's position. Here, it would have been more accurate to play the move king to d8. And now a5 can be met by king to c7. And now a6 is actually terrible after b5, a critical change, critical nuance in the position as the king and rook are both in the orbit of this pawn, and it itself is in a little bit of danger. The engine gives a nice edge for black in this position. As it stands, however, he didn't do that. We have this position. White has resolved the A pawn as a difficulty and is trying to pressure the position. In the meantime, let's take a look at some stats. As we know, we have one of the greatest tournament performances in the history of chess taking place. And right now, the TPR for Sindarov, 3150. 3150. Now, Caruana is not doing so badly himself. 2868. What kind of rarefied air performance is that? Anybody would take that and say, well, if I'm doing that, I'm probably leading the tournament. Except he's way behind the other guy. Incredible. As if you're going to have 3150, then what are we supposed to do? Performing like an engine. Giri is in third place with 2749, more normal chess play, normal chess ratings, but it's just simply incredible. Now, that 3150 is higher than anyone in history. The highest before him in second place was Caruana at the Sinquefield Cup. But the comparison is somewhat unfair. Why do we say that? Look who Magnus had to deal with when he played in the Sinquefield Cup. It's not just the players, Magnus, Levon, Hikaru, who's playing here, Vasily Topolov, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and Anish. It's the ratings they had. The lowest rated player in that event was 2768. That would be a boss rating at this tournament, and the average rating was almost 2,800. There were no weakies in that event. In fact, of the top 8 players in the world, 7 of them were playing in this event. Make that 6 of them. Sorry, it was 7 playing in this tournament. And Fabi, of course, had this incredible result. He playing the top players in the world. And this result, I don't think even whatever Javokhir does in this tournament, it's going to be hard to compare to what Fabi did there. And help me with my numbers, guys. What am I missing? How many players played in the Sinquefield Cup that year? It was 6.
It was a double round robin.
It was a double round robin with 6 players, no? He won 7, then drew 3. So that's 10 players. There's something wrong about
8.5 out of 10.
Out of 10.
11.
And it was 2 times. So there's an extra player in the field somewhere in that list. Somewhere there's a typo.
Well, Fabi himself.
But he wasn't on the list. If we can bring that list back, something's off.
Fabi was.
Can we see that again? Just pull.
I don't think Fabi was listed in that group of players.
In that 10. So somehow the list, and this was the list I gave. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So it's definitely
7.
my fault. Somebody on this list was not in the Sinquefield Cup. And
Oh, we have one extra.
yeah, we have an extra player. We have an extra player. We're going to figure that out in a quick second.
NBL was definitely there because of the Karo Khan.
Was Levon there?
Levon was there as well. We'll fix that.
Figure it.
We'll
figure
fix
it
that.
out.
It's definitely my fault because I was the one who gave this list to our graphics
very
person.
Enthusiastic.
Well, let's blame Chat GPT, because that's where I got it from, and didn't double check this answer. Should have realized it now that I'm looking at it. But anyway, nevertheless, the point is that he was playing these top players, and right now, Javokhir is playing against Esipenko and Matthias Blübaum, 33 and 34 in the world.
Ranked in the world.
They're not even 2,700 at the moment.
Right.
So clearly, the average rating is going to be lower. His opponents, okay, granted, he did beat Wei Yi. He did beat Fabi. He did beat Naka. He did beat Prague. All those are gangsters, to be sure. But his field is slightly less impressive, which means in order to keep pace, he's going to have to keep winning games. If he starts drawing games, he's going to pull his TPR back, and then he's going to end up under Fabi's sterling performance.
Yeah, well, still, like you were just saying there, if you were to tell Fabi beforehand, through 7 rounds, you've got a 28.68 TPR.
You'd be pretty happy with that.
Sign me up. I'm the second highest rated player in the field. How's Hikaru doing? Well, not that well, actually. Let's jump into the games. Where would you like to take us?
Let's check with Andrey Esipenko and Wei Yi, because Wei Yi has some chances. Other games look pretty even.
Okay.
So let's have a look.
Where are we?
Here we are. After Queen A4, King C1, there was this move, a B5 played.
Okay.
I think last move we looked at, King was on C1, and it doesn't look right without the rook on D1, right?
Oh, it looks so
very strange.
Like a Fisher random. Like, why isn't that rook castled?
Yeah, King just walked to C1 for some reason.
Voluntarily? B5.
As you can see, Engine's not saying black is winning. It's less than -1. So I wonder, how can white fix this situation with the king? Do you think white can play B3 and King C2?
I don't know. Doesn't that make black's life? Okay, let's take a look. Shall we have a look? B3,
I just want to
check,
make it look like my
King C2, B4.
did this on purpose.
Now I start dreaming of Bishop F5, right?
Oof, yes, that's terrifying. I might get mated in 15 moves.
Yes, exactly. Knight G3. No, Knight G3, you could play knight takes G3. So how do I get my knight out of the way?
No.
So just B4 and...
I think I will play G4 just so you don't have Bishop F5 check.
There. Okay, the knight has to draw back.
No, I mean, this looks very scary.
I don't know. It's just Wei Yi's got the initiative, and he hasn't had to sacrifice anything for it, Maurice.
Yes, and I'm just checking other sites now to confirm the error that chat threw at me. Make sure you always check chat, people, which I did this morning. The Anish did not play in that event.
No.
So remove Anish. The rating list was 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 9 were playing. So 6 of the top 10 players in the world. And the average rating for that tournament was 2801.7.
2801.
2801.7. Because we take one of those players off that list out. At the bottom, the average was over 2,800. And Fabi scored 8.5 out of 10, winning his first 7.
Awesome.
That's a ridiculous performance, not to be equaled by any other performance in the history of chess. And you'd have to really basically almost win out, maybe a couple more draws for Javokhir if he's going to compare to what Fabi did in that incredible year, in that which we sat and watched. And somehow didn't remember that Anish wasn't here.
This is all great, but I do think Javokhir cares more about just qualifying for the
Oh, definitely. The history books, never mind.
Yeah.
Let me become the challenger and get on with business. So those are the 3 games, actually. And which is the 4th game that we have missed?
I think it's Hikaru against Matthias, but that looks very even. We have opposite color bishops.
Opposite color bishops. And our number 1 seed, Hikaru, is just...
hasn't won a game yet.
And, well, he's not going to be winning this game either. On the contrary...
he's on the defending side of this.
Isn't there a winning threat here for white?
Bishop H8?
Yeah. Isn't that just, like, you play a bad move. Isn't bishop h8 just win? What am I missing?
Can I run with king f8? Or am I still getting checkmated?
Well, even if you're not getting checkmated, you're getting...
I'm losing a pawn, right?
I'm hacking
But king
up.
e7, queen d6, maybe.
Ah,
I forced the queen trade. But also, you know, you played b5, which is, of course, not
also
the
a
best
bad move,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe in the current position, Hikaru can just play queen d7 and offer the queen trade.
Okay, all I really want to do is, whoop,
Flip.
yeah, bishop on e5 goes back to c3, and then
you're
it's
happy.
magic.
But it's very hard to achieve, right? Queen f4, maybe queen f5 here.
Yes, you're just in time to prevent me from...
Yeah, I'm just harassing your queen.
Yeah, I don't think that you allow me to get
Yeah.
bishop back to
I can't
c3.
allow that. I mean, even then, maybe black can survive, but why allow that, right?
Hold on, just a second. If I go here, again, with the...
Queen d5, yes.
I go here.
Queen e6. We're dancing around on the board, but how are you going to avoid it? But now you're not even threatening to drop and go queen e5, right? So that gives me a tempo.
Yes, to do whatever you
Could
want
also
to
do
do.
queen d7
Yes,
and keep going.
but then I finally, you can't do any...
Finally.
And I am ready. I'd be a little concerned if I was Hikaru here. The engine doesn't seem to mind at all. It's just giving white the tiniest of advantage. I see the bar on the very left of the border.
It's just the draw. I think at some point engine just plays f6 and fixes the problem.
Maurice, you look at this opposite color bishop and you go, oh yeah, it's a draw, but wait a minute, doesn't white have the dark square with the pawns on g6?
Definitely, but it's kind of empty. You know, if it happens, it happens. But it's the only thing you have. We need a pair of rooks.
Yes.
Give us
I need
something
more
else,
pieces,
or
yeah.
give me a knight on g4, or an e4, or something. We need something else. Just this end game opposite colored bishop. If all you have are squares, those are sort of empty squares, if you will. Unless there is a direct mating sequence, then black doesn't really have any other weaknesses. I'm curious about the move h5. Well, okay, not in this position. Now you're trying to lose the game actively.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to point out.
How does white win here? Like
Yeah.
you got everything you wanted.
Everything. I get to go h8 to g7.
And
I can drive your king all the way up the board, but to what purpose?
d5 even.
Yeah, d5 and
What about b3? No, wait, hold on. You're gonna. What if you? Oh, you're still winning according to me, because now you've driven him too far.
so I guess
I
b3
think b3 is the move that had to have happened at some point along this
after
march.
king d5 probably.
No, but if I do it too late, then you play king c5, and maybe you escape.
Wow, so it's hard even here.
I think that's.
No, that's not the move. This is. Oh, it's
because
check.
queen e5, queen a5. would
it's
be
No,
check.
there's a
checkmate.
check.
I
Yeah, there's a
apologize.
check in the trade
Yeah,
off.
check.
So there had to be. You can't stop the checks, maybe. So leave the king back home on the suffering square,
Different square.
And start with b3.
and start with b3. I think you could even probably start it early. Ooh, no, it's not this way.
We can't figure it out.
Interesting.
Well, maybe there was a series of checks.
Hold on, let's solve this. This sounds like a really cool puzzle.
Yeah.
White to move and do damage.
So I'm just saying, if Matthias gets everything,
Yes. Let's put the queen on f6, king on
Okay.
g8, and then go b3, because here you can't do queen f7 or anything like that.
and now you're ready
Yes,
for the
okay.
Okay, so this is
Developer
when
state.
b3 should happen.
There you go.
All right, so that solves it.
Okay.
That solves it. So now the chase
Now
to
we
mate
kind
is
of
on.
Yeah, I just wanted
But
to,
he's not going to do that.
like, how, if I'm white in the position, my dream is to get the queen on the long diagonal and to win material, deliver checkmate. And
Black has to simply donate to you.
Yeah, and you've got to figure out how to get a really bad position. Hikaru, by the way, has played the move a g6, g5, a kind of indication to me at least, he might be even thinking about trying to play king to g6 and maybe f6. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still a little unpleasant for him.
And Maurice, what's caught your eye in this first half of the double round robin?
Well, the most dynamic game is the one between Esipenko and Wei Yi. And this position is really quite bad for white, not surprisingly, as black has the better developed pieces and white has a poor king on c1. Now, if you see the king on that square, let's go back one move to this position. You think, what do I need? I need some sort of pawn break in order to get at that king. And where's the king sitting? It's sitting on the c file. So the break you would most naturally want is the lead pawn, is this interaction between d and c pawn. Unfortunately, right now, it doesn't work because I can just take. The queen is defending that pawn. So black gets nothing. So what should you do? Prepare it. Bishop d7 and prepare to put your rook on the c8 square, a rook on c8. White doesn't have much to do. In fact, if white tries to drive back this knight, rook a c8 is still playable. Please take my knight and improve my bishop to a fantastic square. And now b3, I'll play this check. Your king has to run over, and here comes the queen attacking, and you are in deep trouble. Rook to c1 to save your rook. Queen takes on a2. b3 is hanging, and that poor king will not have a nice home, as not only pawns are dropping off, but how do you even organize your pieces? When you see this line after king to c1, bishop d7, you say, that looks fantastic. We just want to play the move c5. Instead, Wei Yi said, no, I'll break another way. I'm going to go after the c3 pawn with this move. Not quite as good, but still a pretty good line. Now, g4, you still can ignore it and play a move like rook to b8. Say, please take my knight. We've seen what happens if you take the knight, bishop takes, and what are you doing? It's the same variation, b3, queen check. It's really disgusting that a c2 square cannot be defended any which way in this position. You'd have to get two pieces out of the way. So what did Esipenko do in this position instead? After b5, he decided, okay, I want to play g4 and be able to take the knight, so let me move my knight out of the way in advance. Now at least the queen will be able to defend once I get the bishop out the way. Unfortunately for this move, he set himself up for a different sucker punch back to the c5 move, which I don't believe has been played as yet. No, it hasn't. But now it's a strong move, ignoring everything, because now when you take, you set yourself up along the rank. The queen, of course, is defending that square, or may say attacking the square. So c5 is an awesome move in this position, preparing to make the capture. Excuse me, I back up. If you play g4 now, well, you can do what you like taking this piece, as your position is collapsing. Just, you can't take with the bishop. If you take with the pawn, then the knight is hanging. In fact, this is even mate coming straight at you, and that would be the end of the game. So it is Wei Yi's move. The fantastic move here is c5, and an opening disaster for white. Look at white's pieces. You had the white pieces. How are you under attack like this after 17 moves? Esipenko not in great form right now, and a golden opportunity for Wei Yi. I would guess he is no way, no how going to defend this pawn on d5. He sees that he has a massive developmental advantage and a weak king. It's time to open up the game.
Thank you, Maurice. You know, that game, the Petrov, reminds me of the most painful game of my life.
Uh-oh, bad memory.
Yeah, it was the Russian Championship in the last round. I need only a draw, and I have already beaten Kostyanyuk and all the top players. I'm playing the last sit in the event. I'm with white. I only need a draw. She plays Petrov. I get mated in 25 moves.
Oh, an invitation.
Yeah, so this is reminding me that my king also ended up just terribly weak out of nowhere in the Petrov.
Oh my gosh, that is painful. Wow, oof.
Yeah. One and only game in the Petrov. Never played it.
Never again, never again. I'm returning to the game of Sindarov and Anish Giri because I just saw I'm a pawn grabber.
Some pressure.
Yeah, Sindarov suddenly, I'm looking at rook c5 ideas and capturing this pawn on d5. It sure felt
Why
like...
didn't he do that on the last move?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was looking at, pardon me, instead of king g3.
Yes.
I was looking at rook c5, and I'm like, how am I going to defend this pawn on d5 if I, for example, do something like takes, and invite this, thinking I'm going to win the pawn on b3. Yay for me. But wait a minute, the rook just goes to d6, and I'm not interested in 2 versus 1.
Looks like black is still holding here, but at least we are up a pawn. We made progress.
Yeah, big time. We're up. But he didn't do that. Sindarov, he actually just played.
Maybe he's
the last move was king g3
on the clock because there is an hour difference here as well.
Hey, it's been his winning formula is to have a good position out of the opening and take advantage of his opponent's time trouble. Now, one of the things that's really standing out in his success so far is his unbeaten. He's won 5 out of 6 and 1 draw. He's on the unbeaten.
Yasser. He hasn't lost since September. He lost one game to Ivan Cheparinov during FIDE Grand Swiss, which he won, by the way, but he lost one game. So overall, he won the match, but he lost one classical game. So he hasn't lost in 43 classical games.
16 wins.
And he's been playing all the top players.
Yes.
He played in Paikidze.
Tata Steel. He was clear second, undefeated in Tata Steel. Behind his countryman, by the way, Nerdovik.
Yeah.
Wow. Very impressive.
How long can he go?
Yeah. Move 33 they're on, so not
I
real
would say
time
it's
trouble.
not total equality here. Of course, Anish is a fantastic player and he can defend this endgame, but there is some psychological effect in place here, right? That Sindarov's on this hot streak.
Right.
And it seems like he can win any position.
Yes.
So, of course, Anish is, I'm sure, still worried right now.
Knight takes d3 by Anish was just played. So rook takes d3. It's again, this knight is doing an absolutely sturdy job at these rooks are not effective.
White pieces are much better. It's just that there's not enough pawns on the board, right? If we had one pair of other pawns, I think white would be much better. But there's just not enough. We only have one passer on b3.
Yeah. Maurice, jump right in on this one.
Yes, and I really love that line that you went down, rook c5, and it's fascinating. Why didn't he play the move?
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like such an obvious move in this position, rook to c5. And now you made this point about takes, bishop back, takes, bishop to f7, and rook to d6. Now the pawn on f6 is indeed hanging. This capture allows rook takes, and you can see the engine is saying this is actually over.
Wow.
Over. Right? That is an incredible claim in this position. Why is that? Because now the g-pawn is incredibly weak and is under threat from being removed from the board. If you try to play a move like this one, how do you defend your pawn? Pure and simple. You just drop material. So that means that here you have to press pause for a second and play the move king to g7. You say, whoa, we get a knight f5 if you do that. Well, it turns out that king to g6, and suddenly somebody needed to be back home defending the pawn on b3, and this is not a real advantage for white. So he might have thought, okay, what do I do here? Turns out that in this position, he has different moves. One move, for example, is to chase the rook off of this square. And we saw something similar in these double rook endgames. Like, for example, this position is very tricky to play. A bishop e8, knight d4 possibilities. And if you take here, now knight f5 is even stronger as this is dropping material. So it's subtle, giving up. There's a line where he has to give up the b-pawn. In fact, there's another line here of rook d1. And if you take on b3, now check. And if you hang around, we play rook h1. And again, you're losing. This, remember that ending, Nakamura's ending, who was he playing? Was it Wei Yi with black?
Yeah.
That ending with the double rooks with pawns 3-2. And we said, that should be drawish. But then we saw the activity of the rooks. And we were stunned by it. Matter of fact, after this, I went back to my room. I've been, over the last few days, looking at studies with double rooks. Like, what's the difference between two rooks and a single rook? And the activity of the two rooks in these studies, just remarkable to see just how much energy they bring to a board. And even in positions like this one, I mean, this is even worse because you have a dominant knight versus a bishop that's not doing much. The rooks show their power and how they can coordinate and harass a king. And this is the kind of thing that he could have noticed, didn't notice in the position, though. He decided to go after a different kind of position. And we have the live board here where he's just kind of chilling like a villain with a fantastic knight on d4. Rooks maybe going soon to the h-file to cause some harassment. It's still advantage white here. If he can grind this down like Karpov, or maybe can we dare say Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces, would do some work here. He could go 6.5 out of 7.
That would be.
I mean, at this point, I see that as a possibility. It could happen.
Right. Yeah.
Before the event, I would never believe that. I would take any bet against that. But
yeah.
now,
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Right. I want to say who's going to win the event, statistically speaking, but I think I know the answer. Let's take a look at the pie charts.
Yes, let's have a look. Pre-tournament favorite was Fabiano Caruana, no surprise there, and Hikaru in second place. But look at that, Sindarov was already in third, so he did have good chances, even pre-tournament. Then after the first couple rounds, the first round, 3 players won the games. So Fabi, 40%, right. Sindarov in second, and Pragg in third.
Before you go any further, stop. Could we guess what it's going to be after round 6, the 3 of us?
Yes, I'm going to say 70%.
I'm going to go 75.
You're going higher.
Even higher.
Maurice?
I'm going to say 76. No, I was going to say 90%. I was going to say
90.
That's my first guess, was 90. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Let's continue.
So then Fabi, it was a round of draws. Nothing changed much.
Right.
And I think this is when Fabi and... No, not yet.
Not yet. It was round 4 when the two leaders clashed.
Yeah, here as you can see, Fabio's at 53%, Sindarov at 26%, other players all falling behind. And then Sindarov beat Fabi and completely changed the standings. Look at that, 46 against 31%. Okay, still not a huge distance.
Right.
But then Sindarov keeps winning.
Oh my gosh.
Is it 58%? Fabi at 32%?
Suddenly the pie chart became all round.
And then let's see, did he reach... Oh, 77.
Can't believe it. I was off by 2. How badly were you off, Maurice?
Well, I could have won it if I wanted to at 76. But like I just thought it was so definitive. I can't imagine 15,000 tournament simulations actually generated that little an amount, because it really is going to demand a full-scale collapse by Sindarov and a miracle comeback. But yeah, it's a fair number.
Okay, 77%. Well, there you have it. I mean, even with this really, really outstanding success so far, there's still a lot of tournament to be played.
Of course,
it goes to show.
Let's not forget, it's chess. All it takes is one blunder, one bad move. And tournament's completely different.
I know. You rack.
It's going to take a lot of bad moves.
Your nervous system
yes, of course, but
worrying about it.
It would just change his it would affect his confidence, right? If he just blunders once.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm looking at this game between Pragg and Fabi, and I'm just kind of scratching my head, and I'm going, okay, if you're black-white, why isn't Fabi grabbing this pawn on b2 with both hands? I guess there's an e5 issue, right?
Oh yeah. No,
I mean, I win a
pawn back.
Takes. I don't see exactly how you're going to win this pawn back until my eye spotted e5.
And you don't have a check or any in-between moves? But what about rook d4?
Right.
You can pick up a different pawn.
I guess you...
94?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now you could play rook d1, rook c1, but all right, knight g5 is a new threat. A pretty unpleasant threat, actually.
Exactly. And if
Probably
I
have
go
to play
h6, rook takes c6, knight d3?
Okay.
Or...
This knight endgame is still tricky. Because the pawns are all weak, honestly. e5, h4 for white, e6, h6 for black, so...
So...
Still... And Prague is down to 23 minutes against hour and 7, but I...
Wouldn't you rather be black here? You're winning a pawn.
Yeah.
And...
I mean, it's not much. Even with a pawn, it's double pawns, right?
Yeah, and it is 4 versus 3 after all, right? So.
But hey, being up a pawn with the black pieces, I'll take that.
Most people would. But he has not, he's not leaped like he absolutely... So could he be thinking about maybe e5?
What's the advantage of starting with? So you're not.
So I'm not allowing e4, e5, and I'm just saying deal with this.
I guess I can defend passively, right? Knight d1.
Can I take it?
But then I will still take on
C6. You take on d6, and then you take on b2, and yeah, of course. Yeah, so I don't even have the time for e5, but okay. I
like knight e5. What do you think about knight e5? Because I want you to fix my pawns. I want you to take on d6, so I can get 3 beautiful pawns in the center, and then still hopefully win the b2 pawn.
So, okay, I fall for it. I fall for it. And I...
But you have f4. That just ruins everything.
And I get rid of some of my weakie.
We are trying to squeeze water out of the stone here.
No, that looks very, very, very even. And where do these two players stand on our standings?
Right, Fabi's in clear second, but still 1.5 behind Sindarov. Prague is in third, but 2.5 points behind Sindarov. So, of course, both players need a win. Nobody wants to make draws. Sindarov wants everybody else to make draws.
Exactly. By the way, just on, if we bring that graphic back up for just a second, I think our pie chart's going to change a lot if you look at who's playing who, because Sindarov is playing against Anish.
Right.
Could we bring, so if Sindarov wins, goodbye Anish. If Fabi wins, goodbye Prague, and then the pie charts, it's only 2 players.
Yeah, and one is at like 85%.
And one is at 15.
Yeah.
So like these 2 games that we're witnessing in this round 7 is going to basically decide if it's going to be a 2-horse race, full stop, end of story, and we don't even have to consider anybody else, or will Fabi and Prague draw? And then there's still a potential that there's a 4-horse race. If Anish draws, you know, he's still within...
remains like 2% chance maybe.
Yeah.
Where do you see 4 horses?
Well, it's right there. Those top 4 players. Yeah, I know. But if Anish could win and
Not this position.
Anish win?
This game? Look, just throwing it out there. That's why today's round is so crucial, because it's actually our 4 top players playing against one another.
Yeah, that's going to be wild to see, but very important games going on in the women's tournament that we haven't taken a look at yet. First of all, the leader has drawn her game, Anna Muzichuk against Bibisara Asayebayeva. So we have a result in the books in that game. She currently also has a 1.5 lead over the field, but games are going on. And a big-time game right now with Divya Deshmukh, who finally won a game last round. She's got a huge edge this round against Katerina Lagno. Take a look at this position. You would not suspect it because black looks like the one who's on the assault. You've got the isolated pawn, but man, centralized knight, bishop pinning this knight, bishop on the long diagonal, rooks beautifully placed. But her last move ignored the d5 pawn, and I know Yasser looks at that pawn and says, well, pawns are pawns. Show me. Well, queen to d6, and this looks quite dangerous indeed, as the threat, of course, is the knight on d5, but also to capture this knight and deliver mate on the h2 square. Well, Divya said, knight back to f4. Let me see you do your worst. I'm about to move my bishop out of the way and look to trade off queens. The really nice G5, hitting a knight, knowing this knight is pinned, doesn't work because we take. And now you have to trade queens, and your attack absolutely ends on the spot. So what did her opponent do? She played queen h6, and the engine said, whoa, no. Now you get exactly 0 compensation for your lost pawn. First, we get rid of this knight, and after rook takes, we stop any dream of any attack on h2. And this move is a fantastic one, giving her a massive edge in the position. She's simply up a pawn for no reason, and it turns out that this queen is offside. You can't just play natural moves in this position. For example, let's say you decide, okay, I would like to keep my bishop for later. Well, white's pieces start to emerge with force in the position. Where do you put your bishop? Now, you drop it back, and it gets worser and worser. Hello, your position is falling apart. There's no attack anywhere for black, and it's white with all the pressure in the position. So a fantastic opportunity, and with more time on the clock as well after the move h3, Katerina Lagno ticking down rapidly, needing to make 16, make that 17 more moves in this position, and she's in a world of trouble.
She played bishop takes f4.
Yes, so we know with the draw that we saw in the Anna Muzichuk game, as I introduced with Bibisara, this could be a massive result because Divya would jump 1 point and be just a half a point out of first. She would have come from -1 to +1, and with some momentum, with the wind at her back, winning 2 in a row. If she can take down Lagno right now, Indian fans will be cheering their girl on. Yes, go Divya. Can she pull this game off and make this more than just a one-horse race?
And Maurice, there was another huge game going on with the ladies. Alexandra and Zhu. Yeah, what was happening in that game?
It looks even right now.
Even?
Yes.
Yeah, because, again, to the pre-tournament favorites. Just keeping an eye on the game between Sindarov and Anish Giri. Again, the players almost have made time control, but there's only 14 minutes for Anish to make move 40. They are not getting the increments until they get to move 40, and an hour advantage on the clock for Javokhir.
And Yasser, do you think Javokhir can switch the rooks to h file now?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, why he put his king on g3 in order to maybe do the old switcheroo.
Yeah, rook h1.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of nice to keep that knight firmly sealed there, right?
Because I can use the other rook to actually go to a to a7 as well. I want to attack you from both flanks.
And of course, if I really walk into it as a commentator, I have to put checkmates on the board.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this is a nice one. Whenever you get your rooks either, oops, doubled on the 7th or along a file, you have to worry about those types of checkmates. I guess Anish should...
Has to play rook g8, right?
Yeah,
and
so...
then if I go rook... Yeah.
So if you go rook h7, I'll go rook g7.
Yes,
if you go rook...
I go rook a1 now? Let me I was like, oh, I tricked you. I'm going back.
Wait, that's unfair. I've got... you went to the h file, and I had to match you. But you're right. I mean,
white can
Sindarov is enjoying the proceedings. Maurice, jump in.
Yeah, that knight on d4 looks so good.
Right?
Just looks so good. That bishop is completely anemic. It's doing 0 in the position. And another game, we had jumped at this position, and yeah, as you said, those dark squares look so juicy. Right. What can I do with them? It's a game between Hikaru and Matthias Blübaum. Actually, Matthias has the white pieces, and this position, Hikaru decided to play the move g5. And after bishop h8, king got its marching shoes on, but f4, and this capture, and you can see not only the dark squares, but this sudden weak pawn appearing on h6, king to e7, met by bishop to g7, and Hikaru way down on the clock, not real serious in terms of time pressure since it's 33 moves in. But that pawn, you don't want to give away a pawn here. By the way, don't try to be fancy and play a move like this one because you want to trade queens, because white will happily trade queens and take these two passed pawns and say, yeah, let's see you defend this opposite color bishop position. So bishop to g7, apparently the best move is h5, but he has to calculate here because queen c7 is a big question. Don't play this move because after queen e5 check, queen blocks. Now we take. There's no way for you to trade queens in this position. You just gave us a pawn, and the h pawn is passed with the bad king, with the dark squares. So Hikaru has to calculate very carefully here. Queen c7 as he has played h5. Bishop to d7 is possible. And this position, at least he's holding for now. But absolutely razor's edge play, despite what looks like it should be a draw, but it's white who is playing the better side of equality.
Yeah, we would say the sunny side of the torture here is definitely in Matthias's hands. And well, for Matthias, who's drawn all of his games except for one, he lost one. It's nice to have a good position. Let's put it that way.
He can brag right now. He's the only one who drew Sindarov.
Good point. It's a big brag at the moment. H6, H5 on the board. Hikaru's first half has just gone, everything has gone badly wrong. And I think it was that loss, especially to Fabi, that really
threw him off, and also not beating Wei Yi was definitely affecting his mood, as he said yesterday.
Yeah, he was salty after that one. Yes, absolutely.
Maurice?
You just mentioned the name Wei Yi. Let's get over to that game because, oh boy.
Oh boy?
That king.
It's bad.
Esipenko's king is the thing in this position.
Did he play c5?
He did play c5.
But that's the boss move.
We don't even have to analyze anything. c5, let's go. Bishop d3, give me that. Bishop c2, I'll drop my queen back, takes. I'll just develop my bishop. I'm going to put a rook on a c-file. Your king is sitting right there. I might be sacking in exchange. We don't even have to do anything funny in this position. This looks awful beyond awful for white. Imagine you move your king to d1 because you wanted to make sure it didn't come under attack.
Yeah, early.
Now you're sitting on the c-file, wide open c-file. Any day now a rook is going to land on that square. If you still haven't been running your king back the other way, where you came from, and then a rook shows up on the c line, and you're crying tears in this position. Look at white's rooks. Look at black's development. It's just
pretty,
over.
It's pretty embarrassing.
I mean,
right. Yeah.
Embarrassing is a great word. If you're playing this with white, you can't even believe you got this position.
Why did I wake up this morning?
This looks done.
Yeah.
Just simply done. Wei Yi knows this is a massive chance for him to win this game, get back in this tournament.
Oh my gosh, he's actually put his king back on d1? No.
No, not yet. But I'm just saying, what are you supposed to do? Your king is going to have to leave.
Yeah, I actually went king b1, rook c8, bishop d3, and I'm crying at my lack of understanding here. It's like, what have I done?
Yeah, this position just never happened. What is the king doing?
Exactly. Andrey just lost a lot of tempi going king e1 to c1 to d1 to c1 to b1. And he's got a bad position to go with his bad moves.
Speaking of blunders, we have a graph of blunders so far in this event. Oh, that's a lot. Why are there so many blunders?
Wow. Well, the tension, the nervousness in these events, you're under this relentless pressure. And blunders, okay, just a second. So how are we defining?
I mean, Wei Yi's blunder, when he blundered a piece against Fabiano.
Right, that was horrifying.
That was his game
over.
Move 15, not move 25, it was move 15.
Right.
And he lost on move 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is round 6 most significant blunder. So yesterday, Sindarov beat, who did he beat? Wei Yi, right? Oh, it's talking about their game. It was move 20.
Okay, I'm going to dispute. I'm going to dispute this this graphic.
Yes.
Blunders and bombshells. That's a bit harsh.
It's a nice sounding graphic.
It is. It does sound harsh. And I think, sometimes they use a definition of the change in evaluation.
Right.
The engine will say your move sucked, and humans will go, okay, whatever. I mean, you're being an engine.
Yeah.
And I went to that position, and I have it on my screen. The blunder by Sindarov is in this position. He should, in fact, have played, this is against Wei Yi, this is the move 27, when he should have played the move bishop to e5 and essentially kept his pawn. But instead, he developed his rook.
He blundered.
This would not be a blunder by definition of humans, because you don't lose any major material. Okay, you do kind of give back this pawn. And in fact, his opponent didn't even take the pawn, because queen takes here would allow queen takes e4. So the main problem was this defense, bishop back to f2, and the game proceeded takes, and after rook takes was
That's the blunder.
That's a blunder. We agree with that. But he should have taken on this square and then played rook to f3, and this would have kept the advantage within bounds. So if you say you're losing a pawn, you're giving back the pawn, that's what was happening. You're giving back the pawn, then, yeah, but this doesn't feel like a blunder from Sindarov. It's a bad move, definitely. It's a bad move, but blunder is a bit harsh evaluation of that last move, rook e8.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a natural move. Rook e8. Blunder? Yeah, that's tough. That's a harsh.
Engine land is blunder.
That's a harsh.
Let's agree, though. If engines are sitting around, the coffee shop, engine coffee shop, and it's Stockfish and it's Leela and all the top engines around, and you play rook e8, they're like, who's the clown? Bro, clear out your hash tables or something. What are you doing? This is so stupid. How would you play rook e8? You should have just defended the pawn with bishop e5. You're much better. So, yeah. But as humans, we would look at that and go, no, that's not. Blunder is a bit too strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the engines give question mark when you don't play the first top three choices.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean a blunder. We consider a blunder if you lose material.
That's it.
Yes.
That was why 27 blunders. I was wondering if that was.
I think it was on move 27 what it said.
27, sorry.
But that was also because yesterday there was technical issues. We missed that moment. So I couldn't remember what happened on move 27 to say, yes, he blundered.
Thank you, Maurice, for showing that. Before we go on break, I'm just going to make another quick gander at our tournament leader's position. Sindarov has played that whole rook to h2, and he's pressing. He's pressing. Again, no material advantage to speak of, just a positional advantage for Sindarov.
And it's a long-term positional advantage.
Yeah, he's going to do his best to just kind of grind.
But I do believe he can only win if Anish makes a big mistake.
It's going to require a blunder.
Yes.
Okay, as we go to break, what are we going to regale our viewers with?
We have an interview with Caleb Danby, who's the manager at the St. Louis, I think tournament manager, right? Program manager at the St. Louis Chess Club. And after that, we'll also be joined by Ben Underwood. So enjoy, and we'll be back shortly. We're joined by Caleb Danby. Welcome to the show, Caleb.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great time following the broadcast, seeing your commentary over the candidates. Happy to be here.
You're here at the club, and you've worn many hats over the years. You're the program manager.
Yeah.
Tell us about events coming up at the club.
Well, part of what I get to do now is put together this awesome weekly programming schedule that we have at the club. Right. And really, no matter who you are, there's something for you in our schedule. So if you're a beginner just starting out, we've got our very lively beginners night. There's a great group that comes out every Monday night and hangs out. And then we've got kids classes on Sunday for the families. And if you're a serious tournament player, I mean, this is definitely the best place in the world to be. You've got pretty unique access to grandmasters every day of the week.
Right.
They do lectures, they do classes, they even do game analysis. If you play in one of our Saturday tournaments, you can come down and get your game analyzed by a grandmaster right away. It's really amazing stuff.
Nice. Caleb, for me, one of the great things in St. Louis, and during the summer most especially, is the summer camps.
Yeah.
Tell us about the summer camps.
Well, again, there's kind of nothing like it except what we do here in St. Louis. So kids get taught by a grandmaster for the entire week. Every day they go in, they work directly with the GM, and that's the kind of experience that you don't forget. That sticks with you. I can't tell you how many times we have a kid come in who's pretty new to chess, not really sure about it, a little hesitant. And then by the end of the week, they're like, "Mom and Dad, we got to go to the chess club. we got to sign up for this tournament. I'm so good at this now."
Right.
It's awesome to see. The kids have such a good time.
Absolutely. And Caleb, St. Louis Chess Club hosts so many events. Tell us about the upcoming Scholastic tournaments.
Well, this Saturday we have a really exciting event. We're hosting our all-girls championship. And it's so important to have events like girls' events, especially with open tournaments still being skewed towards more male participation. Kids don't stick with an activity unless they have friends that do it. And so having events like this lets those girls and young women find each other and start building that community that turns into lasting chess players who end up, in the U.S. championship, things like that.
Nice.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up playing all girls tournaments, and that's why I kept playing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear.
Again, it's all about making spaces where people feel welcome, feel like they're a part of the community, and that there's a place for them to enjoy chess too.
Exactly. Anything else you'd like to share?
Just that it's been really amazing following the broadcast. The candidates always brings out some excitement in the chess world. Like anyone who's a chess player is following the candidates.
Exactly.
And for the folks at home, if you want to live that excitement every day, come to the chess club. Come visit us. If you're not local, make the trip to St. Louis. It's worth seeing. It's really special what we've captured here in the new facility, in the new chess club.
If I'm local,
yeah.
how do I join in? How do I sign up?
Well, your first visit to the chess club is absolutely free. So you don't even have to commit to anything. You just show up at the door, say, "I want to check out the chess club," and the amazing staff here is going to show you around, show you the beautiful facility, show you what we've got going on that day, and then from there, we'll sign you up for a membership.
Caleb, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Hello everybody and welcome back to your break coverage for the 2026 Candidates Tournament. My name is Ben Underwood, statistician for the St. Louis Chess Club. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit about these players and what it takes to be a high performer in the candidates, and then how our players are currently stacking up to what's happened in the past. So without any time to waste, let's get right into it. Now, we just saw this graphic from the commentators' total tournament blunders. I wanted to talk a little bit about that first. So what I use to look at tournament blunders is the change in expected score. I have a blunder at 18% drop or more. Now Stockfish gives the win, draw, loss percentages. From there, I can make an equation that calculates the change in expected score. So of course, by the engine, we had some significant blunders in round 6. Sindarov with his loss of 51%, and then Wei Yi on move 25 with 23.85%. Now, Sindarov had already cultivated enough of a lead to where his quote-unquote blunder was not enough to change the game in any way, but this is how those blunders are calculated and how these players are evaluated to having a blunder throughout the tournament. Now, before we get any farther, I have a puzzle as usual. This is from the 2024 candidates where Hikaru Nakamura beat Fabiano Caruana. And you can go ahead and pause this and take a few seconds to try to figure it out. We'll be right back at the end of the break to solve this one together. Now, let's look at the current tournament performance rating, Sindarov, at 3150. This is huge. It is the highest of any candidates so far. Caruana trails him at 2868, almost 300 points behind. Now, how would these numbers stack up in past candidates? Let's take a look right here. These are the tournament performance ratings of the past candidates' winners. We have Nepo in 2022 at 29.03, Caruana 2018 at 28.88. Looking at these two numbers, Caruana's 28.68, if he was winning, would be enough to sit right in that third place position. But it's Sindarov's incredible performance right now at 31.50 that is just blowing that out of the water. Now, what factors go into the performance rating and allow you to be a high tournament placer in the candidates? We first looked at blunders. This is the highest average blunders per game in the past. Taking a look at a few of the players in this graphic, we have Gukesh 2024, Caruana 2018, MVL 2021. These are first and second place finishers that have the highest average blunders in all of the candidates' tournaments. So it's obvious that minimizing total tournament blunders might not be the way of placing highly in the candidates' tournaments, and this is proven by statistical testing. So I then looked at time difference. Even in past candidates, there's no statistical difference that is significant enough to say that the time you spend versus your opponents is a factor that says whether you're going to place first or eighth in the candidates either. And even looking at this graph, Sindarov so far has spent 34 minutes less on average than his opponents, while Caruana in second place is 25 minutes more by move 20 than his opponents and is right on the opposite side of that spectrum, but still sitting second. So this is not a factor that has really played into the tournament placing in the past, and obviously not in this tournament either. But here is one that does. Best moves found in the middle game. This was the only thing that I found that had a statistically significant impact on the tournament placing by player in the past candidates. So the more best moves you find in the middle game, the higher your final tournament placing is. However, look at Sindarov at 55% at the bottom of this graph. He's making my stats look just as bad as every opponent that he's faced in the candidates so far. And this is an exception, an incredible exception. What's going on here? Well, we talked about in previous rounds that you're not always looking to minimize blunders against the computer. You are playing a human. So taking that human into positions that they may be uncomfortable with and then outplaying them in those positions seems to be the key to placing highly in the candidates' tournaments. So we'll take a look in later games. I assume as Sindarov draws a couple games later in the tournament, this percentage will start to move up the graph, but this is quite the exception as compared to other candidates in the past. Finally, we are back to the puzzle. Go ahead and take 3 more seconds to try to solve it. What is the winning move for white in this position? Hopefully you did not cheat. It is knight to e7. What is the idea here? The king has 1 square to go to. If it goes over, you have knight here to d5, attacking the queen, but also threatening mate here on f8. The only way that you can get out of the mate is to play black knight to d7, covering the square, but now since the white knight is on d5, you're gonna lose that queen, and here Fabi resigned. Thank you all so much. We're gonna get right back to your candidates coverage. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat and we'll talk statistics in the later rounds. But for now, Yasser, Nazi, and Maurice are here with your candidates coverage.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at the current standings after round 6. Javokhir Sindarov in clear first, Fabiano in second, chasing Prag and Anish, Giri. The rest of the field don't really have a shot at first place anymore, but of course they're giving their best to every game.
We have results in the ladies.
In the ladies, we had one result. It was the tournament leader, Anna Muzichuk, who drew Bibisara Asubaeva. And Anna maintains her lead because no one can catch her today.
Absolutely. And looking during our break, looking at the game of Fabi. And Prag, Fabi are really racing to a draw, which is great for our tournament leader, of course. Last move was G5, more more pawns and pieces coming off the board. I'm expecting takes on G5, HT, Knight F2. Knight F2. I'm wrong.
What's the tactic?
No, it's just like Knight takes F2, Rook takes F2. It was just...
Well, nothing happens.
Nothing. It's just,
King is safe.
No, there's nothing.
We expect that to be a draw. But how is the leader doing, Sindarov? Is he actually squeezing something out of his position?
Well, he's always had the plus. I mean, it's actually this
he has
knight.
A new plan.
He's going to keep the king.
Bring the king all the way to c3 and then start pushing the pawn.
That would be the dream, of course.
It's the only progress I see him making, right? Because he tried everything else.
Well, it's this question of the black king, right? If I could, I'm assuming it's white to play, right?
King e3.
If I could put my rook here on a7, black's king...
Uncomfortable.
A little bit. I'll have knight f5 as a decisive threat, and if you deal with it by playing king g6, then I got rook h8. So yes, I think at one point the b pawn has to be the trump that I use, right? Because it's the only passer in the position. The other trump is maybe black's king after rook a7, knight f5 could be assaulted.
They just reached move 40. Anish played very quickly because he was down to only 2 minutes.
And he's
king e3 and rook b6 is on the board. Time control reached, and now Javokhir has hour and 30 on his clock.
I have to say, boldly stating the obvious, Sindarov's ability to stay so far ahead on the clock has really paid enormous dividends. And this last move invites white to munch a pawn, right? We can take and ask.
I thought rook b3 and then rook f3 was coming after that. Am I?
What?
No, not rook f3.
Sorry.
Okay, rook takes b3?
Yeah. Rook.
Is this, I believe this setup is a draw.
Say what?
Look at the engine. It's not saying it's lost.
Bishop c6 will be a problem.
So you have to go rook d3?
Yeah.
I'll take and go f5. Now, I wouldn't be confident myself to do this.
I mean, to sacrifice an exchange. I was happy winning a pawn, and I wasn't even sure that I was doing that great a pawn up. I just thought I was doing wonderful an exchange up. And you're right, the bar on the left side of the board says, no, this is all drawn. Maurice, would you grab this ending with both hands as black?
Well, I will say,
argue with the engine, I know.
I will say no. Well, I have explored these in studies myself, and actually, this position in your analysis board,
yes,
black can even. Oh, we just lost your analysis board. We need your board back.
There it is.
This position.
So
there are many positions. You're just stay where you are. Stay where exactly where you are.
I just wanted to say to our audience, this is the current position, and this idea of voluntarily sacrificing the exchange to get here. Go ahead, Maurice, please.
Okay, so the goal is to eliminate all the pawns and have a draw on rook and bishop, a rook versus bishop ending, right? That's the goal.
Right.
The problem is you don't easily achieve it because if you play g4 right now, we take it, and you can't take it back because of the rook g2 problem. So, but there's always going to be a threat. So the major question is, can it ever be achieved in any way? And the big question is always for white, can white's king and rook torture the black king and push it back in some sort of way? So it's going to be a very clean calculation. You can start making some moves. You have to just be careful about this happening. So let's just go down the path a little bit. This check, you have to bring the bishop back. You cannot let the king in the game. And now is where the danger starts, because this check from behind, however, it's still not easy to bring the white king in the game. Let's say, for example, I'm going to play the move bishop f5 here. And you play check, and I'm going to play the move king e6. And how do you get the king into the game. And so you do have something of a fortress in this position. And there are even some positions, by the way, where black can give up his pawn for nothing. And the bishop and king stops the rook and extra pawn.
Right. The pawn would have to be on f6, I think.
Yes, those kinds of situations. So as long as white's king has no entry point, the rook by itself cannot get the job done. The board is too small, and the king could always go between e6 and f6. The bishop can shuttle along the long diagonal, and white's king finds it very hard to create some kind of critical zugzwang. Now, I'm thinking if the white king, no, even if the white king stood on g3, I thought, let's make a few moves, guys. Get the king over to g3. So king e5, king back, yes. And now king g3, and this is the hope of the zugzwang. But the problem is this move king e5, and you cannot create the zugzwang. If rook to g8, you just play king back to f6, and it's just not that easy. Even lateral action doesn't seem like it will work. So let's play rook a8, for example. And now black has to be just a little bit careful, but here you just simply can't drive this king back. You might, right around now, you might need to bring your king back to, let's get the king back to d4. Let's bring it back, let's bring it back. Let's go, let's bring it. I think when the king gets to d4, that's gonna be the first real test of the position, because you cannot play king e6 now. Just play that king e6 move, because now your game is over because of rook a6. So then the king gets in. So you have to keep the king out. So after king d4, bishop goes back. I would have put it on e6 myself, but you found a good square. And also this bishop b7, if the king strays too far, will be attacking this pawn, and the draw will be very fast after this because the rook has to defend, and then black's king will chase up the board. So if you are clear on endings like this, then yes, you can play it. A lot of these endings are in fact drawn, as long as you know for sure that white's king cannot enter the game.
Right, keeping that king out. It's not a move, rook takes b3, that I'd embrace, but this man, what a result he's having. Wow.
Very impressive. Look at those ones.
Yeah, don't they look bling bling.
Let's compare this to Fabi's line score. Let's see how Fabi's done so far.
Fabi's played a very decent event. I mean, if he
1-0 in the middle.
but if you had asked Fabi before the tournament begins, look, Fabi, we're going to give you a +2 result after 6 games. You still got 8 more games to play. +2, I'll take it. But by the way, that +2 includes a loss to the tournament leader.
And that leader has +5.
Well, that's shocking. There's nothing I can do about that, says Fabi.
Not so happy, yes.
Actually,
we
I
do
think
have rook d5 on the board.
Yeah, I do think Fabi's gaining rating points with his results so far. Let me just refresh my...
Sindarov, since he has +25 or so now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We do have rook takes d5 finally on the board. And let me just refresh. 30 minutes for
See, Andrey
Anish.
hates it because Andrey knows rook b3 is a draw.
Right.
But Sindarov's like, go ahead and defend.
You know, I find myself more attracted to the move bishop e6 personally. Okay. You know, like I'm not really happy to
rook d8, you still can take bishop b3. I think you'll get... Do you get mated?
Oh, because of knight f5.
I think so.
You're right. You're absolutely right, because your rook is on h2. You're already playing knight f5 check. So bishop here and bishop takes is never possible.
Not an option, yes.
No, I'll always have knight f5 with a checkmating idea behind it.
Question for you.
So
Would you rather defend that bishop and 2 pawns against a rook, or include 1 pair of rooks on the board as well? Because what Giri can do is play bishop e6.
Okay.
And on rook d8, take on d4. And then take on b3 and play that endgame. Is that more drawish? I mean,
after rook d8, Anish can
take on d4.
And after knight takes b3, rook takes b3, isn't it the same thing?
No, I'm not trading the rooks here. Before I was forced to. Here my bishop is moved out. So rook b3.
Yeah.
And also you can play king f2. What I'm saying is that white can keep the two rooks.
Can he? If he could.
Let's say he could.
Would you want to? I would say yeah. Well, obviously, if the f5 position and rook versus bishop is such an easy draw, add a pair of rooks and white's chances have to be increased, right?
So now if you play f5 with black, you think white has better chances to win this?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, because I can mate with two rooks.
But my king's not getting mated.
Well, that's bad luck by my part, but
I think it would depend on the position, but in this one, I think maybe, okay, somehow the engine says black is in trouble.
well, I can imagine that.
You can lose the g5 pawn more easily.
Or, well, I can checkmate with the two rooks, or maybe I could just drive your king easier
Lose the
back,
pawn, yeah,
more easily back with
To me, it
a
looks
By
pair
the
of
way,
rooks.
I told you guys when I saw those two rooks in the Naka game.
Right, Wei Yi.
I was so mystified by it that I said, are there studies that I can look at that show the activity of the rooks and the little edges that rooks need? There were tons of studies in the data. I have a database study. Harold Van Heiden has gotten these studies together in a big database, and you can filter the studies and look up all kind of material distributions. And so I did the material distribution. Two rooks against two rooks, pawns on the board. Okay, what's the deal? And there's been a lot of creativity around these studies, a lot of geometry that's just absolutely gorgeous. But it was so little you needed with rooks to harass a king that I just felt like my game improved. If I was a player still, my game would improve just from looking at these positions. These are real? Like your rooks can do this stuff? And it's stuff like this. For example, in the position after rook, bishop e6, rook d8. Let's play that forward. Bishop e6.
Yeah.
Rook d8.
Yep.
Rook d4. And then king d4.
Right.
And then rook takes b3. And now rook e2. And now, you talked about the king getting mated. And look how the king is being harassed in this position. You have to be really careful here because the moment that white rook, let's say, for example, king f7, can do any damage, well, probably, look at that already.
Rook d6, I think, wins.
Rook d6 proves to be hugely problematic. And now you have to play what? Bishop
c8.
c8 is forced.
And rook c6.
And now rook c6.
Yeah.
And look at the dance of these rooks. They are incredible pieces on the attack. So you need to be uber careful against the rooks because suddenly it's just mate. Your bishop is hanging and it's mate on the g7 square here. So watch out. Be careful how you trade down if you're Anish because the rooks don't need much to turn into power pieces that they are. They are major pieces after all.
Yeah, I think I have to remember this next time I play.
Yeah, no, that extra pair of rooks on the board gives white a lot more winning chances. But this rook takes b3. I must say, the more I'm looking at this, and again, my prejudice was to, play bishop takes b3. I really wanted my bishop on e6. Just forgetting that knight f5 is just checkmating the black king. That makes me think more and more that Anish is going to play rook takes b3. Right? Yeah, I think.
Could white avoid the rook trade here, or we absolutely
But
can't?
how?
King d4.
King d4, bishop c6.
And on rook f5, you take on f3.
Something like this even.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting
Yeah,
that
can't
same
give up that
ending.
pawn. And if I want king f, then you can trade the other rook. Yeah.
Yes.
It's forced. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now you could do something a little bit crazy like this.
Yes, sir, I have an absolutely crazy line.
Please.
Let's go back to, check, rook b3.
Okay.
King f2.
Okay. King f2. Bishop.
Are you ready for this? Bishop takes g4. I have perpetual.
What?
I have a perpetual.
You have a perpetual.
Maurice, have you ever seen a perpetual like this? I'm giving up a full piece. I'm down a rook, and rook b2, and you can't get out.
That's gorgeous.
That's
Just
crazy.
had to show it once I saw it. I was like, we have to put it on the board.
That is gorgeous.
Oh my
And it's
gosh,
true.
I have to come back to the second rank, and I have to maintain
Pure geometry.
I think you can
protection.
use this for your studies.
Oh yeah, that's a study position. It's probably been used before, but that is a study
I've never
position.
seen it.
All you need for this prepet is the pawn on g5, the pawn on g4, and you can just eliminate everything else because the king simply can't escape.
Yeah.
So it's a very nice pattern. You just cannot get away from this prepet. So you could be down something else on the other side, like a rook, like a full rook here, and the prepet is on. Very beautiful. And it has to happen on the H file.
I'm not sure I've seen this pattern.
No.
Maybe I have, but I forgot it because it's such a rarity.
It is a rarity.
Yeah.
This is not a pattern you're going to see every day. It's just it's almost funny to call it a pattern because it's just like this piece cluster.
Yeah, this
you will. It's just-
peculiar rook on
Just
H2.
this thing, you're not going to see it one time in 10 million games, probably.
Wow.
if that. And it's just this thing where you have a pawn on g5, a pawn on g4, and the rook has to be on h2. Everything has to be the way it is. In fact, yeah, and here's what's funny about it. This is why it's not a real pattern, right? This is why it's not a real pattern, because it can't happen anywhere else on the board. You understand what I mean? Like
Right.
if you push the board up a rank,
Yeah.
then the king just backs up
Right.
and then goes towards your rook.
Yes.
So take the bishop in this position, right? So if there was a 0 rank, which we don't have,
So king will go to g1 and then the g0.
yeah, exactly. The king
then
would
walk
back
that
up.
way.
No, well, this you're stuck, right? So you can't.
Right.
This, but if you could go to g1, and then on this check you could go backwards to
F0.
g0
Or f0 and walk forward.
or f0. F0 would be more accurate, and then
Yeah.
go back up and go after, making the zigzag.
Yeah.
And if you were up a rank, then it's essentially that's the exact same thing as having a 0 rank.
Yes.
If everything gets shifted forward. So the only way it works is in this situation.
In second rank only.
Second rank only, side of the board, by the way, only, because otherwise I'd crawl around the rook to the other side, so we can't shift it to the left because you'd crawl around. So just an absolute unique, I'm not sure it's been discovered, but I will tell you that later. I'll be going to my database to check
Right.
to see if we have this exact, because it can only happen on the H file and it can only happen on the A file and only in this way. Very gorgeous discovery.
Wow.
We've been seeing some nice things
Yeah.
commentating before anybody else makes a study, I'm going to make a study.
Some new
if
patterns that
it hasn't been done.
none of us have seen. And we do have a result in the open section. It was a
Hikaru.
draw between Matthias Blübaum and Hikaru Nakamura. As we expected, I mean, Hikaru was on the back foot a little bit. He had to defend,
He
but
had to defend.
he did it very well and ended in a draw.
After
I mean, of
H5.
course, again, every player here needs a win.
Yeah.
No one's happy with a draw, but in this game, since Hikaru never had any advantage, he was actually worse slightly the whole game. He should be relieved that he was the draw.
Yeah, and I felt at one moment when Matthias had played Bishop H8 that he was the one pressing a little bit.
Yeah.
Ended up in a draw. I'm going to go back to Sindarov's position because guess what? Anish did not give up the exchange.
Not
in
yet.
fact, he's played Bishop to E6. So we're expecting Rook to D8.
All right, he can still do it, but now White is not forced to trade both rooks, right?
Well,
Or one pair of rooks, I mean. So if you do Rook B3 now,
yes.
takes, I can go King E4, correct?
Right.
And after Rook B4, King D3, can I
Maybe-
get away? Or maybe you still force a trade. We didn't look at this before. Because Rook B4,
Now I have a
he's
different
taking Rook
problem.
B3, he's going for this line.
Oh, this is the actual position on the board. So he did sacrifice the exchange. He only included the move Bishop E6 with his exchange sacrifice.
Yeah, he did, and I think he still manages to force the rook trade. That's why it still works. So if I go king f2, does bishop g? It still works, right? Bishop g4.
King
I hope
f2,
to
bishop
see that
takes
on the board.
g4
I'd be very
would be.
happy.
If he plays that move, then I'm not creating any studies because he will have done it in beautiful fashion.
Stole your idea.
himself.
Stole your study.
It's his. It would be a gorgeous way to draw a game, without any question. That would just be fantastic. The geometrics are just perfect. Geometry in chess is such a beautiful thing, and this would just be ideal.
Yeah, but Sindarov has no reason to play king f2.
No.
It's just a strange move. Why
yeah,
would you go
bishop-
to f2?
Somehow I'm picturing, the young Maurice Ashley coming to school, and the teacher said, "Well, did you do your homework, Maurice?" And Maurice says, "No, because Anish Giri stole my study." What the heck?
There
Bishop
might
takes
still be
g4.
a hidden study somewhere in there. It wouldn't be. I mean, of course, bishop g4 works. A knight capturing on g4 would work.
Right.
For example, so something, this business of something on g4. But it's easy to create. I could create any artificial anything to get to
Right.
this position. But to do it in an actual game, and we call study-like moves, that bishop g4 is absolutely gorgeous. And it only would happen, it's just a unique position in chess. There are positions like that. They're just unique. And again, in a real game, it may be 1 in 10 million, 50 million even, that something like this would pop up. And all we're doing is appreciating the geometric setup. It's not something that will necessarily repeat itself, but it's important for you to remember it, see the construction. It makes you feel a little bit stronger as a player, and certainly for us, a little bit more entertained as commentators.
Absolutely. You take off the bishop on e6, and you put a black knight on the h6 square. And white feels like he's got a chance of somehow...
Terrible knight in the corner.
Terrible knight. And the knight goes, knight takes g4, check. A draw on the spot. It's such a shocking move.
It's probably the only move that draws, because knight f7 would be rook d7 much worse. Right?
Exactly. But this is really, my goodness, what a pattern.
By the way, I will point out, so the thing that happens once you see something like this, you can start to change things around. So you see the pawn is on f3. The same thing would happen if the pawn were on h3.
Yes.
So just pick it up and put it there, yes. You can do that with your mouse. Yes, if it's like this, it's the exact same thing. So you could see yourself creating a study or having a position where this is the actual position, where white doesn't even lose a pawn. White has both pawns still on the board. And it's still the same. How would you achieve that position would be the question.
Nice.
Well, we gave Maurice work to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm expecting... on your flight to Cyprus.
On my flight, I'll come up with something.
Okay. But
I'm hearing, though, that something critical has happened in the women's event.
Okay.
Whereby Shali is suddenly winning the game as Tan has blundered horribly. Oh, my goodness. What was her last move? How do you go from being up a clean pawn to putting your rook on the same...
About blunders?
Yeah, this we call a blunder.
Yes.
This is officially a blunder. How do you put your rook on the same diagonal as your bishop and king and allow this sacrifice?
Oh, my
That is an absolute disaster, the proportions of which you cannot even properly describe, that a former world champion allows rook takes f6 up a pawn, maybe not winning, but definitely thinking about winning, and you put your rook on the same diagonal as the other pieces. Many a study has been made because of things like this, but not this simple.
Also, look at the clocks. It's Vaishali who has 1 minute, and Tanjangi with 15 minutes blunders.
Wow.
I'm telling you, the surge of the Indian players, somehow something's going on, because Divya is way up in her position against Katerina Lagno. They both won for the very first time in the last round. They were under 50%. Now Vaishali, she won her game to go to 50%. Now she's going to win this game for sure and go to +1 right behind the leader. And if Divya wins her game, that means they will both have won 2 games in a row to now make the leader realize, hey, wait a second, he got chasers. Shocking development in that tournament.
Rook takes
And
f6.
Maurice,
Oh
in
my
Javokhir's
gosh.
game, he did play King f2. We might
King
just see Bishop
F2.
g4 right now. I'm so excited for that.
You gotta be kidding.
No, this is the moment of truth. Anish spots Bishop
not.
g4.
He actually did not.
He's trading rooks. He's forcing the trade of rooks.
Ugh,
But
What a
what a
shame.
miss. Bishop takes g4 would have been beautiful. Just simply
if
beautiful.
he doesn't draw this game now, because he didn't play Bishop g4, wow.
Yeah, well, he'll really smack himself saying, what a pretty... You're not used to seeing a pattern like that, a perpetual. You're used to giving a perpetual the queen, not with a rook. By the way, Anastasiya.
Yeah, she caught up with Hikaru Nakamura after his game, so let's take a listen to his interview.
Hikaru, the game has finished in a draw against Blübaum. Just a short summary about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I would play something different to surprise him, and then I walked into some prep. Luckily for me, I think I found the best moves, and the position was objectively equal, even though it looked quite dangerous. But of course, I was down a lot of time, and I had to be very careful. Actually, at the very end, I came close to blundering with this move c5. Maybe there's still some way to draw, but then I played b5, and it just ended. So it's a decent result.
And now the first half of the tournament is finished, and you've played many candidates event. Did you approach it like two a little bit different events while you play the candidates? Because now you have to face the same players for the second time. Does it change the dynamic?
I mean, I think it's a weird tournament because there's one player who's running away with it. We'll see whether he wins this game or it's a draw. But there's one player way ahead of the field. So I think because of that, the whole tournament's going to be a little bit strange going forward. I think for me, though, it's just a matter of trying to play some good chess. I mean, it's without a doubt, it's clear that the prep has not gone well in this tournament. I've been in trouble in a lot of games. It's been very draining from an energy standpoint.
Yeah, you mentioned that one player is actually playing so well that it's really hard to catch him, but I'm still going to try to give it a try.
I mean, to catch him, I have to win all 7 games if he doesn't lose. I mean, let's be realistic. That's not happening, but I can still play some good games and go out on a high.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hikaru. The last question, what about the rest day? What are you planning to do?
I mean, I'll go spend time with my wife and my baby son. That's what matters the most these days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and all the best of luck.
Thank you, Hikaru, as we're looking at the game between Andrey and Wei Yi. And Wei Yi is just played a monstrously powerful move. After the move b3, we've seen essentially Andrey has walked his king along the first rank to b1 where it's not safe. And this move, bishop b5, was really, really, really nice. Inviting a whole rook capture if you like. Whoop, whoop. No.
Yeah, he is looking at his first win in the tournament.
Exactly. And you get bishop to d3, as well as bishop takes e2. And it's just white's king is just, well.
No, I mean, everything's collapsing. And rook on a1. Do you really have a rook if it's on a1?
Actually, this is a kind of a pretty checkmate, isn't it? Just a single check.
Yes.
The rook on a1 is actually, here's your extra rook. Thank you. Oops. For Wei Yi, by the way, I mean, he is one of those players I find to be streaky and incredibly capable. Like he's in a bad spot on the tournament chart, but whenever you get, confidence, you get this opportunity.
Wasn't it him last year in Grand Chess Tour, one of the Rapid and Blitz, where he just won 8 or 9 games in a row?
It was fantastic watching. It was quite the streak. But in any case, today he is showing his class, and poor Andrey is not
he's
playing
not
well
having
at
a
all.
Tournament. And it's not. There's no one else who's on the bottom, like Andrey. So everybody's targeting him.
Yes.
So you have a tough game. You think you can recover next game. Well, you're playing someone even stronger maybe the next day.
Exactly.
Someone who's having a better tournament. So it's very tough to be in the candidates and be the target for everyone.
I just think, by the way, this is funny. What is Black's threat in the position? And it's sort of like, will you please take my rook?
Wait, is it still mate after knight c1? It is.
It is. It's like, would you please take my rook? Oh,
King
no.
b2. And
King b2.
checkmate me.
The last
on a3. Oh, you're not playing queen a3. You're torturing.
Oh, excuse me.
I mean, rook c2 is nice too.
Boy, I always talk about blinders on. I was being really myopic. Queen a3. Yeah. So.
This will be the only decisive result in the open section so far.
Right.
Because the other two games we expect to end in a draw. But I still can't believe how Tanjung blundered the full piece in the game.
Rook a1.
Yeah, it's such a beginner blunder, right? I mean, we've all done it.
Of course.
But to do it in the candidates.
Oh, that's very, very, very painful.
What a gift for Vaishali, though.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about in chess, that it's a game of confidence and you have to come confidently to the board. But it's another thing, too, that you need to get your sleep. It's required that you rest and relax. But if you lose a game like that, there's no chance of getting sleep. No. Because you're like, what am I doing? How could I make a blunder like that?
And going into the rest day tomorrow, I think she won't get to sleep for 2 nights.
Yeah, exactly. Maurice, we've all been there. It's tragic when it happens.
Indeed, but we need to jump to the game between Anish and Javokhir because Anish is toying with us, or maybe toying with his opponent, or maybe with himself.
He didn't play a 5?
Did not play a 5. Look at the live position. He played the move King f7, and Javokhir played King g3, and we all know that f5 is drawing. We went through that full analysis together. The engine is saying it is a draw, but Anish is not playing the move. He's not playing King e7. He's not trying to delay this because later it's going to be better or some such thing. If he sees f5, he's playing f5, and somehow he's just kind of still playing with these moves. Does he think that he has a fortress without the move f5?
That's exactly what I think he's thinking.
And maybe he, in fact, does, but f5 keeps being the move until it stops being the move. And you have to be really careful. The real thing you have to worry about is if you play f5 when your opponent can play the move f4. And that could be a bit problematic. And let me see if I can find the lines. For example, rook to a8.
We found it. Oh, we don't have your position, Yasser, on the board, but if you can pull that up, Yasser found the beautiful...
Yasser found a way. Let's take a look.
So just from the game position, after the Vaishali game, I didn't play rook a8.
Yeah, put it on a dark square, agreed. Rook b8 makes sense.
We'll learn quick.
King f2, f5,
f4, and that's
f4. That's the very nice pawn breakthrough.
Yes, and this one now, if you take on f4,
I play g5.
then g5 suddenly gets played, and you realize a major problem now with that g-pawn racing down the board. Bishop c6 looks like it would be the only way to keep white's king out, and I'm assuming that
I think g6 immediately
g6, it would happen, yes, because you can't play king f6 to slow the pawn down because of rook to b6. By the way, he
rook was on
did
a8.
put his rook on a8.
Javokhir did put the rook on a8.
He did. He didn't see the Vaishali game.
No, and that's a big deal because it means that black gets a tempo. You can't play king f3 in that position.
Right.
So now if we play the exact same line, rook a8, it was bishop d7, you played king f2, f5.
Still winning.
f4 takes push.
Bishop c6, and you don't win with g6, but maybe just rook a6 or something.
Yes.
Okay, rook a6 is the only move.
But that
And then you can
makes
play rook
sense, too.
f6 next move, and then that's winning.
Rook F6 next move?
Yes,
and
just cut the
is
king
winning?
off and
And what? Oh,
do you do?
it's Zugzwang.
Zugzwang.
It's Zugzwang. The bishop can't move and the king can't move
Yep.
because of G6. What a pretty Zugzwang.
We're seeing a lot
Wow,
of
we are
pretty
seeing
things today.
some really insightful patterns
Yes.
in a rather
But I think that's
common
why
ending.
Anish is not committed to F5. I think he believes this is just a fortress, which it might be without F5. We have moves here. Check and king went to F8. He's not worried about.
So he's thinking to himself,
Anything.
look, I'm gonna wait for you to play F4, and we're gonna get a situation, instead of my having a pawn on G5, I'll have a pawn on F6.
And you have pawn on G4, which is always hanging.
Exactly. Exactly. This pawn will always be under a watchful gaze. And in the meantime, I'm just going to move my king between F8 and E8 until you attack my bishop, and I'll go king E7. Maurice, intriguing ending, I must say. I didn't expect this at all.
Yes, some good stuff. Really instructive. A game, though, however, that is pretty easy and pretty straightforward is that game we talked about with Tenzan Yi, and we see it happen. Rook F6. She played Rook F1 check in the game, and now king to E2. King takes. Sorry, your rook is gone now, and we're not giving you anything back. G3, and now bishop to C5. The A pawn provides no solace whatsoever. Yes, you can try to trade off pawns on one side, but you're not going to trade all of them off. And now the king comes up the board, and we have this position, which is an easy, easy win for white. We would expect resignation anytime soon, because you might get another pair of pawns off, but if you get a pair of pawns off, but you're not getting all of them. And we see F5 just played. It's a particularly easy way to win this game. The bishop will always guard this pawn from going any further, and you just bring your king in, and that will be that. I'm expecting king G2 to H3 to H4 to G5. She's decided to just play bishop F8 for the moment, and black's king can hang out, but it will prompt white to realize what to do with her own king, is just to bring the king in, and there it is, king D3. And we would expect king G2 here to really... I am seeing one funny situation, though, a king on F3. Let's play this out for a few moves. King G2, king E. Let's play here. Bishop C5 is mean. I'm going to play an inferior move. King here. Let's play king
H4
here, king H4, king here. And now...
I don't want to play king G5 in this position.
Okay, now here is time to
tempo with the bishop.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
Bishop D6.
Bishop D6. Oh, you guard the pawn. That's not just a tempo. That's a guarding of okay, here.
Now I'll go king.
Now king here takes. Takes, and king here. And this was the one I was worried about. This was the trick.
Nice trick.
That was I saying it's not as easy because the A pawn runs.
Exactly, a decoy.
Yeah, so this position is the one to worry about. We're still winning. Oh no, we can't let the pawn even go one further square, because this move allows a draw with this. And whatever we do, this pawn will go one more, and then the king can shuttle back and forth in this position. So now we have a very funny position. Oh, I know what to do. You play bishop A3, and when the king goes here, you play bishop C1.
And defend it by that, from that angle.
And when the king goes here, but this is study-like. We take, and now when you play A3, I can't take just yet, so I would play here. Yes. So that means you can't play A3. You must play...
No, you must play king G4.
You must play king G4. And now we need to get around with the king.
King F6.
So king F6, push, king here. Sorry. King here, push, bang. And now we got it. Wow. That took a lot of work.
It did.
That took a lot of work. Wait a second. It's almost on the board. We're getting there. To this very we're seeing some really study-like. This is why we study studies.
We study studies.
And that's why we do it. We do those studies because there's themes come up in endgames all the time. A lot of people say, and I remember my good friend Willie Johnson, I said, oh, I created this beautiful study for his birthday. His birthday just passed. He turned 78 years old, one of my dearest friends in the world. And I created this study, which happened to be, by the way, a bishop features prominently in the study. What's going on? I see shifts happening left and right. Here. But this exact position with Tanzania, the study, I said, I created this study for you. And he was like, I said, what's the problem? He said, you know, studies, they always have these weird positions. There are lots of crazy things going on. And he's a 2,000 rated player. And I said, studies are not chaotic positions. They may be difficult to solve, but sometimes they are very much chess positions. Like the one we just saw with Anish, like this one, where you need to play bishop a3, bishop c1.
Practical studies.
You know, just, very practical and worthy of studying. And we know as higher rated players the value of looking at these kinds of things because you come up with solutions very quickly when you train yourself to look for these kind of very difficult moves. And so those of you who want to improve as chess players, know the studies from the past. There's so many amazing players, Kabul, Reddy, Benko, Rink, it goes on and on, Watawa, just goes on and on and on, the great names who have created these amazing studies that are from practical positions that you say, I'm winning here, and then you are winning. They increase your technique, your calculation, your creativity, very useful for becoming better at this beautiful game of chess. And also, it's just enjoyable as well to see the dance of the pieces.
Yeah.
It's actually most fun. I remember when I was studying chess, studies were my favorite. I mean, it still is today.
Right.
Just never went away. It's the most fun because you get to be so creative.
I love the tactics. The smothered mate. By the way,
the game is over, by the way. Sorry, we should point that out.
Missing a career highlight.
Game, and now Wei Yi is very close to winning his game.
Yeah, I wanted to turn our attention to Wei Yi. When we left it, we saw b3. He captured with the bishop. I was expecting with the pawn, but this is very, very strong because he had this intended follow-up was bishop to d3. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. You can't take on d3 and then queen comes to d3 and it will be mate very, very shortly. Can't even play rook to c1. I think it was rook takes c2 that I saw. I said, oh, I turned my head. Rook takes, let me put that move on the board. Just, this is what I saw. And I said, no, this is not very nice. Ouch.
Look, I have a queen, knight, and bishop, and a rook. None of them can defend.
I know, it's
C2.
terrible. So we saw bishop to c3 by
Andrey, and
Andrey.
I think just taking on c3 ends the game, no?
Let me just see.
I don't know
Is that
Wei Yi's thinking?
what move are they on?
29.
That's what I thought. They haven't even made time control.
No, still.
I'm looking at the other games where everybody's gotten their extra 30 minutes, and I thought everybody had made time control. Apologies. Bishop c3.
Yeah, still 11 minutes to 11 moves to go, but I think there's mate in even less than 11 moves.
B takes. So you've opened up the B file. You've got
And queen
ideas
b6,
of queen.
queen b2 is coming.
Queen b6, queen b2. Ouch. I saw queen a3, queen b2.
Yeah, this is just over.
Do I have any? How could I possibly put up some resistance?
Rook b8
Knight b3.
and queen a3.
Then I take your bishop. Ha!
And there's mate.
No, is it really?
Yes.
I'm crying.
Unless I'm miscalculating, but I think there is rook b3.
Okay, I'm still crying. King a...
Queen takes and bishop f4. Bishop has the other side too.
No, I was ready to sacrifice my rook for your bishop. Oh.
And when you play queen d2, I'll take it with a pawn.
Oh, rub it in. That is nice. That is a very nice finish indeed. Probably that's the finish we're going to see. Has he recaptured
Still
on
thinking,
c3?
he has 8 minutes.
8 minutes versus 8 minutes.
Yeah, they both have 8 minutes.
Wow.
But not much to...
B takes
think about,
c3.
right?
B takes c3. So knight c1 didn't work. Well...
And how do you stop the queen from coming to b2? But there is nothing.
I have no idea.
I think he just has to calculate that line we just showed with knight c1, and that ends in bishop f4.
Right.
And that's it.
This was actually quite a nice forcing line, isn't it? It's got
Isn't it?
what I call flow, like all the moves just kind of flow. I'm threatening mate in 1. You defend the mate. Threatening.
It's all forcing moves.
It's
yeah.
all forcing. Yeah, the flows. There was a book, Genius in Chess, by Levitt, that talked about flow, and I really enjoyed that book a lot. Yeah, okay. What is Wei Yi thinking about? We're all set. We're ready. We know what's coming.
Maybe he's
it's
not
all
at
bad.
his chair, you know. Maybe he's just walking around or something.
Right. And in the meanwhile, too, we haven't checked in on Fabi's game. Is
Yeah, I think
any
they're repeating. They found the remove repetition, and it's going to be a draw any minute now.
Okay. So Fabi did, by the way, manage to undouble his pawns.
Here we are. I
but
think one of them is going to claim the draw now.
after
Because they
king-
haven't reached move 40, they can't offer a draw yet,
Yeah.
but they can end it with a 3-move repetition.
I probably, let me show a blunder, speaking of blunders, that I must have fallen for at least half a dozen times. I wasn't satisfied blundering just the first time. I'm a pawn grabber. Why can't I play rook h7?
Oh, I've lost like that too.
Who hasn't? Knight f7, the trapdoor closes shut, and the rook's trapped, king g8, and we sign score sheets, and I'm like,
Just want to flip the table.
correct. Of course, we're very polite. We shake our opponent's hand. We say, wow, you played really well.
Go to your room and scrimp into the pillow.
Absolutely.
Wait,
no.
did this really happen to you more than once?
Oh, yes.
Because this is
Oh,
so
yes.
painful when it just happens once.
Yeah, I mean, because you're in your mind's eye, you've set up this position so you can go pawn hunting.
It also always happens when you're playing for a win.
Yes.
That's when you blunder that.
Exactly. But you're right. The players have been making a repetition, and
I-
that wouldn't be surprising.
By the way, he did not see the F5 idea or trust the F5 idea. I'm sure he saw the idea, Anish,
Yeah, Anish, yes.
in his game, but he did not trust the idea, did Anish. And he has now trusted this fortress where the bishop keeps out the king and the rook. And we have it here where in his game, Anish game we're talking about, this position, Javokhir is thinking, well, there's only 2 results.
Right.
I win or we draw. That's
Right.
the only 2 results. So let me see if I can finagle something. But Anish is saying, no, this setup actually is a pure fortress where your king simply cannot get in. And we've seen fortresses like this before, and they're actually kind of standard endgame fortresses that you have to know. And Anish is showing, I know this, and he's not getting in. There's just no angle which the king can somehow make itself, and your rook can't pry my king away from these squares. Pawn is perfectly placed on f6. The king is perfectly placed on the f file. The bishop just needs to have enough squares along the diagonal, which it happens to have. If we had a smaller chessboard, it'd be a different story, but the bishop will have these 2 squares. It will not be hiding back here somewhere. It will not go back to g8. It obviously doesn't have these 2 and this one, but it will be between these 2 squares right here. And because it has those 2 squares specifically, the diagonal is just long enough for black to not land in Zugzwang. And I should say it also has this 3rd square if the rook tries to guard the other 2. So it just is always going to have squares to hide on, and if not, it's going to be able to play king f7. So for example, in this position, it is actually white to move. White could play this and actually guard a bunch of squares and say, you know, move your bishop backwards somewhere. But I almost thought I blundered. King f7 is playable, and now again, we can shuttle back and forth between f7 and f8. If you play this move, of course, the bishop can draw back, and you just can't zug black because the king has those 2 squares and the bishop has those 2 squares, and your pieces simply can't do the do here and stop black from drawing the game. So Anish is confident he's going to make this draw. So we will see a drawn result. Somebody had to slow down Sindarov But unfortunately for the field, only Wei Yi is going to win, and he's not currently chasing Sindarov.
Yeah, he's only coming back to 50% after this win.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that puts him still.
And Wei Yi did play the move B4, capture C3 as expected, and Andrey's king position's getting weaker and weaker as the B file is now open and Queen A3
Is that what you call it, Yas?
What?
The king is getting weaker and weaker?
Weaker and weaker.
Bro, the
More
king's
vulnerable.
butt naked. The king, that king is wide open. That king is toast.
Yeah.
I can tell you a lot of different ways of putting it. He's getting a beat down is what he's getting. Well, no, weaker and weaker. That's too soft.
More vulnerable. No.
No. He's getting sliced and diced. I go with all my Walt Frazier analogies. Walt Frazier, who just celebrated a birthday. I think what did Walt turn? Like 90 maybe. Walt is up in numbers.
New York Knicks player.
New York Knicks, former Knick great, helped the Knicks to win 2 championships. We haven't seen a championship since 1973. But Walt, Clyde the Glide Frazier, he has all the posting and toasting and slicing and dicing. He would come up with he still comes up with the best ways of describing basketball, and it's always some kind of slick rhyme.
By the way, we're getting
King getting weaker and weaker, Yas.
Yeah.
We have 2 results actually while we're discussing the synonyms for the men's game. Pragg and Fabi drew their game, and Wei Yi defeated Andrey. That's to Wei for his first win.
Absolutely, and a draw for Fabi. All eyes turn to
There's only 1 game left in the Open.
Sindarov's game, and we think
know.
a draw there. And in the
Fortress.
ladies, the results that we've had so far for the ladies.
There was only two results.
Tan lost
Tan lost to Vaishali.
from that rook takes f6. Ooh,
And
dear.
Anna Muzichuk, the tournament leader, drew quickly against Bibisara. So there's still 2 games going on in the women's section.
But the big games, Divya
Yes.
Deshmukh has a massive edge, an extra pawn and position against Katerina Lagno as we speak. If she can win and join her compatriot, then they will be both chasing Anna Muzichuk, just tied for second place, and saying, yeah, we got 2 and you're just 1. And we'll see if you can hold us off as the rest day comes about. Don't forget, Vaishali, in the last candidates, lost 4 in a row. And then won 5 in a row.
In a row.
So she knows a thing or two about catching some wind and then racing with it. And she's just won her 2 in a row. If Divya wins 2 in a row, they'll be holding hands saying, let's go get her. And it looks pretty good right now, those chances of Divya pulling it off. Of course, Katerina Lagno will be defending like a rock, trying to save this endgame. But the Indian players, they got a billion plus people cheering for them right now as they are looking to try to become the challenger for the world title.
Absolutely. Rook d7 by Kate was the last move.
Actually, almost had 3 Indian players in the women's section, right?
Yes, because Humpy
Humpy had to withdraw in the last minute, and
narrow, yeah.
Anna Muzichuk getting her chance. By the way, we talked about it during the break. Anna Muzichuk's sister, Maria Muzichuk, has become women's world champion before, and she's the younger sister.
Right.
So is it the time for the older sister
The
now
older
to catch up with the
exactly,
sister?
exactly. But boy, talk about making the best of your opportunities when they're presented. I mean, Anna was not in the tournament, and now she's in clear first, and she's thinking
point
about
ahead.
becoming a challenger.
Well, we'll keep an eye on all the games. We'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're towards the end of round 7, so let's check the results so far in the open section first. 3 games are over. It was a draw between Matthias Blübaum and Hikaru Nakamura, draw between Pragg and Fabi. The only winner of this round so far is Wei Yi, who defeated Andrey Esipenko with the black pieces.
With a very nice scintillating attack. But in the ladies?
In the ladies, we had 2 results so far. Anna Muzichuk, the tournament leader, drew her game against Bibisara Asubayeva. Vaishali got a lucky gift against Tanjongi.
Absolutely. In our leader Sindarov's game, he is enjoying an extra exchange, but it's an absolutely beautiful fortress that Anish has set up. The 2 pawns on dark squares. If they were on light squares, it'd be an easy win. White's king would just simply waltz in. But because this bishop is patrolling this diagonal, very, very instructive ending to know there's no way that White's king can approach the pawns, and Anish is going to draw this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes fortresses do work.
Sometimes they do.
But while we keep an eye on this game, we do have an interview. Anastasiya caught up with Fabi after his game. Let's take a listen.
Fabiano, you just made a draw against Pragg. Please give us a short summary of what happened in that game.
Yeah, I think probably it was a more or less good game. I mean, I felt like I was pressing slightly, but it was a very drawish endgame. So even if maybe I had some small pressure, it was I don't think it ever turned into anything serious, and he was never in huge danger. But I was also not in much danger. I mean, I played a fighting opening, but it led to this endgame, which I wasn't. I was hoping to get a bit more of a fight, but okay, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, you just came from the playing venue, obviously watching the game of Sindarov against Anish Giri. Like, what do you think about it?
It looks like draw now, but looked very dangerous.
Are you rooting for Anish right now?
I'm rooting for anyone who's playing Javokhir.
Absolutely. Do you think that the fact that he's leading right now in the tournament changes a little bit dynamic for everyone?
Well, some people I think have very minimal chances at this point. Okay, most of us have very minimal chances at this point. I'm the only one who's within 1.5 points. I mean, it's not close at all, but other players are even farther away. So I don't know if too many people are hoping to win the tournament or what they're hoping for. I'm still going to try, of course, but the chances are not great. Although I do have a direct encounter with Javokhir, so there's always that possibility, but yeah, 1.5 points is of course very serious lead.
Absolutely. Do you feel like extra pressure right now? Because I mean, things went this way. Nobody could predict this type of situation.
Not extra pressure. I haven't felt like super under pressure in this tournament. You know, I had one unfortunate game. It was everything else was kind of fine. I mean, maybe didn't make most of my chances here and there, but I was only seriously worse in one game, and it was the game I lost to Javokhir, and not even a game I can beat myself up too much about. I mean, he just opening disaster, you can say. Besides that, I mean, overall +2, you know, I would think after first half, if I'm +2, I should at least be close to the lead. Maybe not in the lead, but at least close, yeah. But that I'm quite far with +2 is a little bit unexpected, but yeah, he's been playing, just playing brilliantly.
Yeah, and you played so many candidates before, and if you remember 2022, it was at one point similar situation that Yanni Pomnishi started to win. And how do you approach it? Did you draw some conclusions after that event?
That one was so unusual because second place ended up mattering. So it would have been wise in hindsight to play for second place. And okay, eventually Ding second place even managed to become world champion. Here, yeah, second place is again not very important, so I don't think it correlates exactly, but yeah, it does feel, well, not to the same extent. Of course, Javokhir is performing even better than Jan there, but does feel like at the moment it's a tournament where one player is kind of dictating everything, similar to that tournament, but even a bit more extreme, because there at least, like after the first half, I was only half a point behind. I mean, behind Jan. Okay, second half was a disaster for me there. Here it's 1.5 points, but hopefully second half will go a bit better.
Absolutely, we also hope so. And the last question, like, how are you going to spend the rest day? What's the plans?
Maybe some sports again, some paddle. Besides that, I don't know. I should of course consider what to do against Hikaru, because that's the next game as well, and I yeah, it's a very complicated game. I'm playing black. Hikaru is very dangerous. On the other hand, I might also want to play for some chances. I don't know yet. How much risk I'll take. But if, let's say, the status quo after this round remains the same, like 1.5 points behind, then yeah, I guess I'll take the rest of it to think about the next game.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Fabi, and we wish you all the best of luck in the next half of the tournament. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia and Fabi. That was a good interview. Fabi discussed a lot in that interview, like finishing second, if it matters or not, and the strategy now, because there's fewer rounds left, and
tell us about the schedule, actually.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, tomorrow is the rest day, and they'll play 3 rounds in a row before the next rest day, and then that's it, 4 rounds left. They'll play 2 rest day, and then the final 2. We hope to see playoffs if someone can catch Javokhir.
Well, in fact, that was what Fabi was mentioning in the whole interview. Yes, he has every reason to be satisfied with a +2 score in the first half. He thought he might be in first, or at least close. But this young man, Sindarov, has just been lighting it up, Maurice.
Well, we have seen players, and I heard a couple of things there that I like to say, but we have seen players start off very strong in events and then slow down to a crawl.
And even collapse, yeah.
But it doesn't even require collapse from Javokhir. Okay, his play has been meteoric so far. So, all right, you might say, well, he's going to keep playing like that. But when we saw, for example, Topalov, when he started in that FIDE World Championship with just an absolutely sizzling score.
Right.
6.5 out of 7?
Yep.
What did he do in the next 7 games?
He drew them all.
He drew them all of them. So the trend was he's killing it. Oh, he's going to keep killing it. No, he drew the next 7 games. So let's just take a scenario with Javokhir. Javokhir has now played the best chess of his life. He's going to win 5 games out of the 7. As you see, he's got 5 out of 6 so far. The one we're looking at right now looks pretty much drawn. He could get 5 out of 7 and take a rest day, and something happens. The steam goes away. He pulls a Topalov and draws the next 7. Well, that means Fabi has to win 3 out of the next 7 to catch him. That's not impossible for Fabiano Caruana. He is actually quite doable. We've seen him win 7 in a row against the elite of the elite in the chess world. So Javokhir cannot just assume that it's over. Yes, he is risen like a meteor, just in the sky. Everybody's paying attention to this incredible player. To be sure, fantastic young talent, but he has never been in this situation before. And we're assuming that maybe he will not necessarily play badly at all. And even if he doesn't, that +3 he has on Fabi is definitely not insurmountable. So he will have to pay attention. And as long as Fabi keeps playing, now if he doesn't, then all crown this young prince, because he is absolutely regaling us with his play, making all the world notice now and say the name Javokhir, because he's the man at the moment.
He certainly is. But let's not forget, it's a double round robin, and Fabi is going to be matched up. Fabi will have the black.
No, Fabi
will have the white pieces because he lost with the black pieces. I meant to say it like that.
So as Maurice was discussing, Fabi needs +3, but if one of those +1s is against Javokhir, much better chances.
Yeah. Playoffs, who knows?
I don't know about Topalov. I think he's also an aggressive player, but so is Sindarov. He never plays for a draw.
No.
He always says, if I have even a small chance, tiny advantage, I'll always play for a win. So that might actually work against him in this event at some point,
It's all going well so far.
True. So far, we can't say anything.
Still, not much progress has been made in the game between Sindarov and Anish Giri. We know it's a fortress. I'm sure the players know it's a fortress, but King F7 and, 49 minutes versus 20 minutes. There's no third time control like there is in the World Championship match.
And there's an increment.
Now it's an increment, yeah, with the 30 seconds.
They could play this for another 2 hours,
It
but the
could be,
position
yeah.
wouldn't change much.
No, it's still drawn. And in the ladies section, the 2 games that are remaining.
We can check those games.
Yeah.
Garechkina's game is actually interesting. Maurice, if you have that ready to show us, because from afar when I glanced at it, or you have it Yasser, it looks like Garechkina's going for the checkmate.
Exactly.
But
She's just played the move knight g4.
Somehow black is okay.
Really? I mean,
Black can play, if we can pull up Yasser's board, yeah, black can play d3 here. And
d3.
yeah, there's no mate.
Hakasito.
King f8.
King f8.
Wait, maybe king h7 is better because the engine judged my move king f8.
You got a check downstairs. I'm a little bit worried if I take this pawn.
Yeah,
No, I
king
can't.
h7 was actually much
Better?
stronger. Yeah,
Okay.
because they don't even have another check for next 2 moves maybe.
I was going to take this pawn and try to checkmate you. Don't look.
Are you in trouble here?
Jack.
Queen c5. Queen c5.
Queen c5.
Because I'm going to play, guess my next move.
I can't guess.
Queen f8.
Queen f8.
And I'm kind of freezing all your pieces
Oh my goodness.
while my d pawn is running.
You got a runner and I don't have a checkmate. Wow. But I didn't see.
Still, anything can happen in this game. Evaluation currently is equal, but I mean,
Let me
such a
refresh the
sharp
board from the. I'm sure after that idea of d3, queen c5 to
Queen
f8
yeah,
is a beautiful defense.
easily missable.
Absolutely.
both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So d3, key move here for Zhu to find.
Besides d3, I mean, she has other options. She could just give queen c2 check,
Yes, and after king g3.
queen c7 back. That's all I've got.
That's it.
That's all I've got. But I guess
I
this
can't
is not good.
run up the board somehow.
And now I can switch back to d3.
Because now you have queen
Queen
h2.
h2 should be good, right?
Huh.
And maybe
I mean, visually it looks like the queen and the knight should be,
over.
but it's not quite there.
very misleading.
It is. It's like I should have my knight on f6
Yeah, at first
if I want
glance.
to do some checkmating patterns.
And even then, it's not clear how you do it.
By the way, this is a big matchup between these two ladies, both
currently
rating favorites.
Sharing second place as well
Exactly.
coming into this round. I mean, 5 players who are sharing second. And on the other board, Divya is up a pawn in the end game, trying to beat Katarina Lachno and get closer to Anna Muzichuk.
Right, who stands at +3. But yeah, both Alexandra and Zhu are desperate for a win.
Should we check Divya's game? Let's see
Absolutely.
if that end game is easy to convert. So her extra pawn is a double pawn, but black also has double pawns.
Yeah, it's a
You have
pity.
to slow play this and just keep improving.
King e2.
What pieces should white trade, if any? It's not easy, right?
Maybe the rooks.
Maybe the
Just
rooks,
so
because the g5 pawn is a weakness.
right. So if I trade rooks, I'm thinking that my king might be able to march up the board in the center, and Kate's king, in a sense, is a little bit glued
To
to
G7.
protecting the pawn on g7. So if
Well, I think Karina will play f6 at some point, but then you're getting rid of g5 as well. So I'm not glued to g5 either.
right, so I was like, if you got like tripled pawns,
So ugly.
that really does look ugly, doesn't it? And I'm making a beeline towards. Yeah, this looks very good for Divya.
Yeah, and the women, the winner of the women's candidates will play
The challenge, which will become challenger.
Ju and Jun.
Chu and Jun.
Do we have the? I think that's also not set. The dates
Right,
and the
to be
place, right?
announced, yes, exactly. I mean, very much depending upon the challenger. Maurice, your thoughts?
Yes, we should just make one little factoid clear, and that is, when was the last capture in the game between Sindarov and Anish Giri? And that was on move 46 after king takes on h2. This position here. They have proceeded quickly, and you see there are no captures, no captures, no captures, no pawn moves, no captures. And by the way, Sindarov took some time in the position we saw right here and said, let me think for some time. And then he blitzed out these moves. Blitz, as though trying to trick Anish. Anish said, no, you're not fooling me. I'm going to make quick moves. And now rook f2 on the board, introducing a new narrative in the position, if you will, the possibility of f4. And saying to Anish, think about this one. Maybe I might be threatening that. He's not. But why not think of something going on? So for example, bishop b3, f4, if it's play, takes, and takes. And now black can actually get away with this move. And here we go. King to e7 looks really, really good. However, suddenly king g6 shows up on the board. And you can't take this pawn because of king to g5. And there goes the pawn. This is the kind of position I was talking about earlier, where let's say the rook moves. Now the bishop can just target this one, and you just simply cannot stop your pawn from dropping from the board. So rook f1 is not a real, rook f2 was not a real threat. Anish did play rook f2, bishop to b3, and now rook f1. Again, just sending ghost ideas into his opponent's mind. Maybe, just maybe, the guy might make some kind of blunder thinking, I have something special. It is 20 moves in. Move 45 was the last capture. We are now at move 65 and counting. 30 moves. I don't think we're going to see another hour as they're playing quickly enough. Anish gets it. You cannot do anything to me. I know this is a draw. And why would I worry? I'll just keep playing quickly. Meantime, he'll try to trick him. That is, Javokhir, he can't lose anyway. So he'll try to see if there's something unusual that pops up out of nowhere. After all, Lady Luck has been smiling on him this entire tournament. Not just luck, but also great play. Maybe something will happen, but I got my doubts. I think Anish will hold this draw pretty easily.
Agreed. Just this whole idea of f4 and that concept. So I'm thinking, if I'm playing to trick my opponent, could I do it by playing f4? No. No. It's the same thing. I can win the f6 pawn.
The king comes to g5 very quickly.
In every case, it's just a transposition of the king coming to g5. Yeah.
And he always has a square. You see rook a3 just happened in the game. And bishop c4 is the only move.
Right.
It's just simply the only move. Don't move your bishop backwards and get caught. But he always has a square. And Anish knows he always has a square, so he just put it there and said, I'm not going to think.
This is the blunder.
Oh, no.
This is the blunder. If you bring your bishop back, then suddenly check. You don't have king f7, and you can no longer keep my king out of this winning square. Yeah.
So if in the current position it was black to move, it's still fine because he can move the king, right? King f7 would be fine. Yeah.
Yes, king f7.
So there is really no way to trick black here.
Right.
Unless Anish makes a bad move and drops the bishop all the way back.
I think we've seen a moment where king f7 was played. So like Sindarov is testing him as best he can.
Anish is not in time trouble either. He has more than 20 minutes, so I don't see him making any mistakes here.
No.
So this will be the first time Javokhir is slowed down.
Yeah. Essentially, the tournament is half over. The pairings will be this like repeat of round one, only the colors are all switched around.
Right, we started the tournament with Fabi playing Hikaru, and now it'll be Hikaru against Fabi, and as you can see, every color will just be flipped. Do you think Andrey wants revenge?
I was about to say, it was the round one result between these two that really set the wind sailing for Sindarov, because that was the only game he was really in a little bit of trouble.
And how different things would have gone if he didn't win that first game.
Yeah, the butterfly effect, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Rook a5 and...
King f7 is on the board right now.
Yes, king f7.
Because the bishop is perfectly placed on c4. No need to move it.
Just patrolling this diagonal.
He can just go king f8 back and forth until white finally plays f4, and then the plan is clear.
Yeah. I'm used to the draw where the pawn, black has a pawn on h7 and g6, white has a pawn on g5 and h4, and the bishop is on the a1,
the dark square bishop,
long diagonal. But this is a good one to know, to be aware that this is actually a fortress. I'm just thinking, I'm laying a trap for my opponent. Ha ha ha. Bishop e6. Take my rook.
Okay, let's calculate for fun. No, not
For fun.
It's not fun.
I like the border.
I thought after king e7. Oh no, it's because I don't have e6 square. Yeah, of course.
Right, and I just.
If you left the pawn on g4, then it would be fine. But the pawn on f5, black immediately collapses. Yeah.
Exactly.
So don't be greedy and just.
Right, but keep your bishop.
Bishop b3 or something. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, it's a nice trick. Nice try.
It wasn't my best effort, but I appreciate your being a good sport and playing along. Thank you, Nazi, for that. No.
So if you go bishop e6, and after king c7, I go king e7.
Yes.
Can you leave your rook on f5 for another move?
Yes.
Probably.
With king c6?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, yes. It's still lost, yeah.
But
actually, it's so bad that the king could be all the way back on b4.
b4? Wow.
On b4? So
Like bring the black. Let's play the moves. The same thing.
Yeah, rook f5.
Bishop.
So go king c5, walk
Play
backwards.
king c5, walk backwards. Play bishop c8.
Just waste the move.
King back to b4. Now take the rook.
It's still winning. Yeah, of course. King comes to c5 very quickly.
And winning king and pawn.
As long as you can't get to d6, as long as the black king cannot get to d6 and then end up going to e5, that would be the problem. But as long as we can get to c5, before you do that, you're going to be shouldered.
Study your endgames.
Yes, especially king and pawn endgames. Oh, gross.
They are so tricky because
they are.
the looks are very deceiving in the pawn endgames. You think it's a draw and engine is given +5.
Exactly.
There's a lot of times actually in recent events where I've seen the top players assume it's a draw and make mistakes in pawn endgames.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Very tricky.
And you were saying it was move 40 plus when they made the last capture?
45.
Move 45. They are now beyond move 65.
So they're only 5 moves away?
No.
Oh, they made it on.
Yeah.
Got excited.
They've only put 20. They
Wishful
got
thinking,
30 to go.
Nazi. Wishful thinking, but
Yeah.
it was move 40. Actually, black. It was move 46 technically. White did play king takes h2 on move 46, so now we're move 68. But no, absolutely zero progress being made. We just round and round we go. When we stop, only Javokhir knows. Because he's the one who will decide it is time for a draw, because he just has nothing, and he can't push anything. He's looking for the tricks. He's got a rest day tomorrow, so what does he care if we're standing around, working still? He's holding the rest of us, the rest of the world in abeyance at the moment. But, okay, whatever. He knows he's got us stuck. But he's trying to win this. If he wins this, we think he'll win the tournament.
No. We think this is the fortress, for sure. Reflecting a little bit on the interview that Anastasiya did just now with Fabi saying, okay, tomorrow rest day, get a little paddle ball in. And then I do have a serious game against Hikaru, and it depends upon how much risk I want to take. Now, we know Hikaru, everybody knows he's a super dangerous opponent, but on the other hand, he's been playing poorly, or at least his results have been a -2. Is now the time that Fabi says, okay, I black, but...
You know, I think so. Looking at the tournament situation, he has to play for a win. Doesn't matter who he plays, whether it's Hikaru or anybody.
Well, it's just that he does have that big game coming up against Sindarov. I mean,
True,
if he
but
could, then he's only half a point behind if he wins against Sindarov. But if he goes all in against Hikaru and slips...
True, but if Fabi keeps making draws while Sindarov keeps winning, it's still the same situation.
Well, then that's out of his hands. There's nothing he can do.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, actually. He should go with his gut and see how he feels.
Yeah.
He feels like he is confident enough he can press against Hikaru with the black, then he should absolutely go for it.
I just remember Toronto last candidates where it's like Hikaru essentially knocks Fabi out of the tournament by defeating him. You saw Ben showing how he did it. It was knight e7 check and knight d5, and there was a queen takes f8. That was how, I mean, the Americans spoiling the party for the other American.
In the last round, they were both fighting for the first place.
Absolutely.
But if one of them had extra half point, it would have been a very different scenario.
Precisely. So jump in on this one, Maurice. You know you're playing a dangerous opponent. You have the black pieces. Do you go all in Fabi's shoes? Tournament situation and all?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I'll tell you why. Look, it's the guy's 3 points ahead of you. I know it says a point and a half, but he's 3 wins ahead of you.
Right.
So you've got to make up the 3 wins. That's the only thing to think about. I got to make up 3 wins. What does that mean? If he keeps winning, I'm not making up the 3 wins. That's over.
Right.
Forget about that. But we know people get full tummies. Fabi won 7 in a row, and what did he do in the Sinquefield Cup?
3 draws.
He drew the next 3. Topalov went 6.5 out of 7. What did he do?
7 draws.
7 draws. That is a trend you have seen. So instead, let that be on your side. And you say, okay, nobody wins all their games. Not at this level. Nobody's going to win all the games. Not Magnus, you just don't win all your games.
Right.
So what I need to do is think about it. There's a 3-win differential I need to make up. If I beat him, when I play Javokhir, if I beat him,
that's huge.
I make up 2 in 1 shot.
Right.
I'm only 1 win behind. I need a win somewhere. Do I have to beat Hikaru with the black pieces? I've got Esipenko. I've got Matthias Blübaum.
Wei Yi.
I've got possibly Wei Yi. That'd be a little bit tricky, but okay. I got, he's not necessarily lighting it up. Giri's going to be tough. But there are other people to beat. Now, again, if Javokhir is beating those same people, I have no chance anyway. So I've got to play the long game. If I lose, though, to Hikaru, I am toast. I'm going to be so much further behind him, it's going to be ridiculous. So we need to just get a position. Don't play for a draw. Play a position. Let the position unfold. See what kind of position you get. If Fabi's in a rambunctious mood, let's go. Let's have a little bit of a struggle. I am not neutralizing the game, not playing for a draw. But if you give me a chance and I see it, whoop, I sneak in. I might steal the game. And that's all I think he should be going for. His seconds will be telling him, steal the game. Don't play anything absolutely nuts. Unless he has some deep preparation from the gods that he cooked up that maybe Naka lands in. I mean, we saw that today. He had incredibly deep preparation against Prague, ridiculously blitzing out his moves. And what happened? He got straight to a pretty equal position and made a draw. That's usually what happens with the black pieces. So I don't think tomorrow, or I should say 2 days from now, is the time to risk everything. You don't need to. You just need to do it 1 game at a time. By the way, I do have another point. Sorry for saying this, because Nazi made this great point when we were walking back to the hotel yesterday. The point is, second place in this tournament feels like nothing. But Ding got second place under unusual circumstances. When he won his world title, Magnus pulled out, as we know. There's somewhere in some universal weirdness where something funny could happen.
Right.
I'm not wishing
Taking
any ill on
second.
anybody, obviously.
Yeah.
But something could happen. Anything in the world could happen. Second place is a good thing to get. I'd play for
reserve.
second.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, let me at least get second place. Who knows? A miracle of miracles, just get second place.
Right. King D7 on the board. Sindarov's still looking.
trying.
I mean, I don't think that the king actually does anything on D8, so you might just allow it, but just because.
Yeah.
Pawn is hanging.
You forced me to drop back with rook a3.
Yeah, otherwise I was going to grab that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Go ahead.
Oh, you want to go with king e6, but you lose 2 pawns.
That's the
G4 comes
problem.
off too. Yeah.
And you can make, and you actually, your king is actually in the right square.
I can go directly to that corner.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, king g8.
Oh,
Can go
you?
right now.
Yeah, because it's not made on C8.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny is that? King.
It's scary, but it works.
King. King.
Oops, rook e7 wins. We did manage to blunder.
Stopping bishop e6. So you want to have your bishop on g8.
So last move, king h8 was a mistake, but bishop h3, for example, is fine. But okay, this is scary, right? It's so easy to lose. King f8, I have to get out of there.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, you know, like, what traps can, you don't even have to take this pawn either, by the way. You can just stay on the diagonal, just as he's been doing, playing bishop a2 or bishop b3.
Yeah, black has no reason to change up the position.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting that he chose this over playing f5, because we know that was also a draw, but Anish, I guess, maybe recently reviewed this endgame,
Yeah.
a very similar one, and knows there's no need to trade pawns.
I'm trying to think of who it was. I'm pretty sure it was Walter Sean Brown was one of the two players. It might have been Patrick Wolf who had the rook and bishop, rook versus bishop, with the long diagonal as opposed to a little shorter diagonal that Anish has. But still a draw, Maurice, still a draw.
It is still a draw. I don't even see a trick. Just...
Yeah, we don't see any.
Here's the thing. If somehow you could get your rook to e7.
Now here we go.
I don't
Here's
think you're
trick
winning
number
even,
one.
Even with your rook on e7, you're not winning? That's just so silly.
Even with the rook.
Oh,
on
let's
e7.
try that. Let's play bishop d5.
Oh, I mean, that loses immediately.
Bishop d5 is one of the blunders.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's too easy. Okay, let's play bishop a2. Let's play bishop a2.
Right. Check.
No. I don't want to do that. I want to get my rook to e7 with my king back.
We can always come back.
We want to do it now. Okay. All right. Let's get this position. This is how sad this thing is. That we can get this and still not win the game.
Right. You can have literally the best setup that
You
you
need the
could
white
get.
king to be on g6 to win this, which cannot happen. So.
Right. No.
Well, yeah. I was thinking you can do king d7, rook e6, but again, black's not falling for it. They'll play king f7.
Yeah, don't go king g6 and allow me to
Go from behind.
come from, but yeah.
Yeah.
King f8. Fortress.
Nice fortress, for sure.
Can we see that position? Can we just play that out for the
Which
G6?
one?
The one with king g6.
King g6.
Yeah.
King.
No, it's bad. Let's just show why. So bishop,
Bishop
some
B3.
bishop move. King move.
Oh, actually, is it mating?
Well, we can go on the white square, so how do we checkmate? There's no
It's not
king
going to
G.
be mate.
So I'm not going bishop d5.
Sure.
I'm just hanging around. Where is it?
Rook Rook G7 first.
Okay.
Then I'm
King
going to move
H6.
the rook far away. Rook's on
Okay.
B7.
D7.
B7 on the white square.
Okay. Far away. Got it.
Rook B6. And then
Rook-
King E7 next move, right?
Of course. That's how. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
still-
getting late.
Yeah.
But nice. Fortress, we're doing our best to spoil the party for Anish fans, but he does have a fortress, and
As Fabi said, he's rooting for
anybody
that plays Javokhir.
By the way, here's a rook f5.
Yeah. By the way, just a reminder to everyone that Sindarov will be joining Grandchester later this year. And these are all the events that are coming up for Grandchester. It will start in Warsaw, Poland, Superbet Rapid and Blitz, May 5th to 9th. Right after that, Bucharest, Romania, the Classic. After that, there's a bit of a break and players go to Croatia to play another Rapid and Blitz. By the way, Gukesh will be the wild card both in Poland and Croatia. Then everything moves back to St. Louis for the Rapid and Blitz, the Sinkfield Cup, and the Grandchester Finals. It's going to be a month of non-stop chess.
You want to be in St. Louis in August for that month of nonstop chess. And it's kind of interesting that Gukesh is withdrawing from the whole Grand Chess Tour so he can concentrate on his World Championship match, which will be later this year. Maybe Sindarov, who replaces Gukesh, will say, wait a minute, I got a World Championship match myself.
That's actually true.
Maybe I should be the one withdrawing and training.
But you know, I believe World Championship match won't happen at least before November.
Exactly.
So he will still have time.
Exactly. And
We don't
Wow,
expect
it'll be-
Sindarov to withdraw. No, he was so excited to be joining Grandchester.
Of course.
We saw him in the interviews.
by the way, we do have, check this out.
The rook f5 on
Rook f5 is on the board. Like, please take my rook. Will he do it? Will he take the rook? No, Anish didn't even consider it.
He
Bishop
immediately
b3.
walked
Said,
away.
look, I've got a fortress.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. Yeah, that was a funny moment.
Do you think
right there.
Sindarov will try f4? Might as well, right? There's nothing
Well, he's
else.
tried everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, might as well the last gasp.
So if you take and I go g5, there's king g6, the key move. Otherwise,
Why is this bishop so important?
now black is winning. That's why. Yeah.
Otherwise, the pawn would go.
Yeah.
Oh no, bishop j. This is one of what I.
We don't have f4 on the board yet. Sindarov's just repeating moves. We're still testing Anish, hoping that he blunders a piece.
Right, or rook in this case.
Are we hoping Anish blunders a piece?
No,
No, I'm saying Sindarov is hoping.
Sindarov.
Gosh, no.
He's
Yeah, he's holding king f8. I think we've had this position before.
yeah.
This
They
is the
might be
grand,
going into that.
And now
finally
F4.
f4.
And the 50 move restarts.
All over again. We reset the counter. to-
But now Anish's king is coming to g5 very quickly. And that's an immediate draw.
So you go king,
Mm-hmm.
king, king. So here,
So if you try to cut off the king,
Yeah.
then you can't take the f6 pawn.
right.
So I just stand with bishop anywhere, b3.
Not
And as soon as you take the pawn, then I go king g5.
right.
Rook b6, bishop d1, and that's it.
Rook f3, bishop d1, and that's it. Yes.
I don't think he's going to test Anish to go to the right corner
No,
when it's just rook against the bishop.
exactly.
By the way, there's an interesting study-like situation that happens when the bishop is on the other color. If we can go back to that board that we just saw right there.
What
The
was
bishop
like-
goes back on the other color. So if the bishop, let's say, was on c1,
Yes.
and now the white rook could go back to b4 and defend the pawn, and you can't take it directly,
So you can go bishop f4.
but you can put the bishop onto the f4 square.
Right.
And you might even not have a tempo and still set it up because the white king cannot come back to help. So, I mean, we can't do it right now, but you can imagine the white king even on e5, and it won't help because white can't play king e4, king f3. And so even though you are down a rook and a pawn, that king is perfectly placed, the rook is where it is, and the dark squared bishop could be floating, and you still can't make any progress.
Yeah.
And that's a draw also. So it's even better, of course, if you could attack the pawn. But it's important to recognize that that lateral defense by the rook, that wouldn't even help if black couldn't attack the pawn with the bishop, because you just can't make progress.
And we do have this
By the way,
position.
they're speeding their way to rook versus bishop after.
Yeah, I think they're going to shake hands in 2 moves after the g4 pawn comes off the board.
Let's see, where would I put this bishop? I guess I would put it here.
Is there an issue with just not d5? Just not d5.
Not d5, yeah. Just don't walk into rook f5 check. That would be, that would be.
You know, that was funny. I had we're
Careful.
playing World Blitz Championship. I was playing Kostanuk, and I had a rook and bishop against rook. I blundered my rook.
No.
And then I was defending bishop versus rook.
No.
I almost lost on time, but I saved it.
Wow.
So that's how drawn this is. Yeah. Okay, he's saving the pawn for now. He put the rook on g2, bishop d1, and white king needs to be on g3 to save that pawn.
Let me refresh my board. I apologize.
Yeah.
Talk.
One
So,
more.
King g7. King g5.
Yeah, they're blitzing these moves out. Pretty easy to make these moves. Now we take king e5. And don't go to h1 corner, right?
No, the corner I want to go to is the dark squared corner.
So king h5 is the only correct move here. Everything
Right.
else is losing. And rook g4.
Ooh, that puts us out
saved
of
us
our
from facing
Yes,
those.
I was about to say, our Easter brunch awaits, and
It's
we want to-
officially a draw. Anish Giri manages to slow down Javokhir Sindarov with a draw.
Yeah, only his second draw out of the 7 games, 6 out of 7. Still a truly magnificent result. Our congratulations to Sindarov for the most amazing first
Absolutely.
half of the candidates.
Yes, and it was Sindarov pressing the entire game as well today.
Absolutely. So his undefeated streak continues, Maurice.
I think he's
Indeed
on
it does. As you
44.
said, the top candidate's performance we've seen since 2013. The better performance was by Topalov, but that was for the championship when it was a FIDE World Championship tournament that they played in Argentina. But this one, Sindarov playing a candidates, he just made it very, very difficult for the field right now to see whether or not they can catch him. But he is catchable. There's 7 long rounds to go, and he still has to play the gangsters. He has to do it all over again. He's not going +5 again. I'm going to bet that. He's not going +5 again. But he should try to get at least 1 or 2 more wins to secure this title, this chance to become world champion, as he is in a really good spot with 6 points. Fabi at 4.5, seeming very relaxed himself. But I can bet you, folks like Giri, folks like Praggnanandhaa, they will be staring him down, and certainly Caruana. All of them will be looking to test the youngest player in the field. We're talking about, and yes, the youth shall rise, and they're all going, you're the baby of the field. You can't be doing this to your elders. We'll see whether or not they find something, some way to just slow him down and then maybe even trip him up with 7 long rounds left to go.
Thank you, Maurice. It's been a pleasure. Happy Easter, Nazi. That was
Absolutely,
really,
and happy
really
Easter
nice.
to everyone who celebrates. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, tomorrow is a rest day, but join us again for round 8 on Tuesday.
See you then.
Have a good night.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.